Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it may be. Happy weekend. This is The House That Happens, recorded live every week at Shuey's Bar and Grill, the best dive bar in the world, and we're located right here in northern Etobicoke. I'm Andrew Milani, and I'm alongside with...
Hi, my name is Cruz.
Cruz, how you been? It was Halloween week. I don't know if you did anything, but...
I went out as Jimi Hendrix, but
Nice.
Actually, if you hear it, I went out as Tony Springer. That's a joke amongst the musos. I had some good paraphernalia in my left-handed guitar. Big shout out to Johnny Rogers for having the jam at Timothy's on Tuesday night. I actually jumped on stage and played a couple songs and didn't embarrass myself.
Nice.
You know, that
Felt
was
good?
Yeah, it was all great. A lot of good people, like, me and humans, but when you get that many in the same room with the same attitude, it makes for a very good night.
I imagine.
Yes, it did. Shout out to the Timothy's staff who treated me like $1 million. I went home blurry.
That's not bad.
I went home blurry. You know what I mean?
This was actually the first year in a long time that I did not dress up.
You know what? We got a tickle trunk at our house, and the drag was we were
Nice
going out
reference, by the
early.
way.
Yeah, okay. So, but the daughter went and granddaughter got into our stuff, and she went to school, and she looked like amazing. She did some crazy witch stuff, and all she did was just go through the tickle trunk, and she had enough gear she found to do her thing. And
Nice.
this makeup was kind of cool. Yeah, so everyone at Halloween, I always just say this, it gives another opportunity for the humans to get involved in another pagan ritual.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually, there's Halloween actually does have its origins with the church as well. A lot of people forget that.
Did a definitive word, pagan ritual? I just thought it was kind of cool. All the guys in pro sports that did some weird things like... what's his name? Myles Garrett come to the game as that monster from that video game because he crushes people. Did you see him? You'd probably know the guy.
Oh, I don't know.
He
about
had a
this.
great costume. Wemby came as Slender Man.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I think the costume for couples seemed to be the Kelsey. What's that girl's name?
Oh,
That girl's
Taylor.
name? Somebody.
Taylor Swift. I think that's it.
The skinny girl, right?
Yeah, she's new on the scene.
Yeah,
a real
the
up
skinny
and comer.
girl. I just kept saying there's a lot of people wanting to be a skinny girl for Halloween.
Yes.
That's all I kept thinking. So
Barbie was a big one as well.
Oh yeah, Barbie
Yeah.
and Ken wrote there. Good, you know what I mean? I think Ken was taken. They took a little alpha out of Ken, but that's okay. I haven't seen the
Was
movie.
Ken ever really alpha though?
I don't know. They're
Yeah, I
supposed
don't
to
know.
be. He's got a tan. He's got pecs. I guess. I don't know.
He's always playing second fiddle to Barbie.
You know what I mean? I liked Archie better. That's all.
Fair
That's
enough.
just it. You know what I mean? A lot of other.
I would say for Halloween, the best costume I saw online was Randy Johnson and the Bird.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was off the charts. Yeah, okay, I'll give that my number one, because Randy Johnson never seemed to have a sense of humor in his day.
No. Although he's a great NFL photographer.
Oh, he has now? He has epic rush pictures because he was in Montreal when he started and before I went to Seattle. And Geddy Lee, being the huge Rush fan, baseball fan, would go down to see the Expo games, and he hooked up with Randy Johnson.
That's awesome.
And so Randy Johnson was allowed to sit in the pit with his camera, and apparently he has some of the best Rush concert photos. He hasn't released them all. You know what I mean? It's his own private thing.
Right.
He's let out a couple, 3, but I mean, like he's his appreciation and gratitude for letting the band do that. But I've heard he's got a library of good Rush shit, which is great because I think Rush is one of the greatest bands of all time.
And I'm right there with you.
Thank you. Shout out to Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and of course the late great Neil Peart. You know what I mean?
Amen.
There's a few other things that I want to mention as we get started, and one of them is that we're eventually going to have a show about fighting. And I just wanted to say that once again, there was a huge supposed fight on the weekend, wasn't it? Against Tyson Fury and some guy named Francis Nagano. Anyways,
Okay.
You know who his trainer was?
No
Mike
idea.
Tyson was in the corner.
Really?
For Magno. Now, here's the thing about the fight. This is the linear championship for the heavyweight title. It goes all the way back to Joe Louis, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Problem is that, first of all, Tyson Fury showed up, looked like he just got out of bed. He got knocked down, and he won a split decision. I'm going with most of the critics that say this in the world. The fight game's already in a bad place. Most of the people I know didn't even know the fight was going on. If I was your age and this was for the linear championship of the world, this would be this would be off the charts.
Yeah.
This would be the event of the week. First of all, they did it in England, so the time switch of the fight coming on, I didn't realize was like 5 in the afternoon or something, which back in the day was kind of traditional. But my point is this. If boxing keeps on putting on shows like this, it's going to be hard for us people like the house that happens that say, come on back, fans, we got some good fights. Because to tell you the truth, that was a joke. He's already fighting a guy that's the number one contender, Usulik, I forget his name, in Europe again. And that's his right to fight in Europe because he is the linear heavyweight champion of the world. But you got to show up with more than looking like you got a spare tire around your waist. Sometimes when he was jumping around the ring, it looked like that hula hoop was moving. It just didn't fall down because he was so out of shape. Took a nice black eye after the fight. If you looked at the two fighters, you thought that Fury lost.
That's what all the memes were about.
Yes.
Like how he looked like he took a bigger,
but he did throw him. When you look at with the stats card, the guy did play good defense. He was playing the old Tyson peekaboo. I saw most of the fight, boring as hell. But I thought that this guy, Naganu, whatever his name is, this guy can probably hit harder than anybody. He's a tank. And the big thing about this is that he got into a scrap with Dana White, got out of his contract, and Dana White basically said, go get your ass kicked in the ring. Ooh, look what happened here, Dana. Which put points out, which is I really don't want to bring up, but it gave that tuber guy a little bit of leeway saying that MMA guys can really box.
Right.
Because this guy was the first guy to show up and never had a fight in his life. Never had a professional boxing in his life.
Okay.
Got trained by Mike Tyson. Tyson
Which,
was in his corner.
If you're going to get trained by anyone,
And apparently Tyson took it seriously, and you could see some old Tyson defense moves that he was actually making that you thought about. Then you look over, oh, yeah, Mike's in the corner. But that's all we got to say to the WBA, WBC, WM, whatever they are. Tighten up your program because you're even losing the house that happens. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the boxing aficionado in this house, and that was a failure on Saturday night. Absolute failure.
But let's turn it around. Let's talk from failures to absolute winners. The Toronto Argonauts tie the NFL or CFL record, 16-2 record on the regular season. Get the bye to the division finals. That'll be next Saturday at BMO Field. They're going to await the winner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats versus the Montreal Alouettes.
That's what it's looking like. In any event, big shout out to Shuey's Bar and Grill where we record. The proprietor, Serge Singh, got a game signed jersey because of the support this bar has given to the Argos, especially this season with the tailgating, the parties back here, which have included Pinball Wizard, the general manager, a plethora of Argos past and present. So if you want to come and be a place to party and give the Argos their due, come to Shuey's Bar and Grill.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
And if you're going to be at the game on Saturday, I'll be there. I know Serge is going to be there. Don't be afraid to say hi.
Definitely not. I'm not sure if we're going to make it. I got to see if my dog needs his haircut.
I was going to say if you needed to get your hair done.
I'm going to blame it on my dog this side. But anyway, no, man, huge shout out to the Argos because you know what? In a city that's screaming for winners, we've got somebody that's on the verge for repeat championships. And we preach this here. How hard is it to repeat, bro?
Oh, my God, especially for Canadian teams. We got into that a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
I mean, the CFL, it's only Canadian teams, so maybe a bit of an exception. But, I mean, Toronto, we don't get winners here too often.
That's my point. And now we're looking down the barrel of a two-time consecutive Grey Cup champions. Big ups to the Toronto Argonauts, not only from the house that happens, but here at Shuey's Bar and Grill. We expect to see you in the Grey Cup, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I really thought it was cool that if you looked at the Argos, I forget his name, and I meant to remember it, but the second string quarterback, not Kelly, the other guy. He played a solid game, and it was very good how the Argos, because I did watch most of the game because I want to take a look at what was going on, and how Argos funneled out some of their main starters when they got a lead. But the guys that came in off the bench, maybe because it was Ottawa, the fall-off wasn't that like they sustained their level of play. Nobody got injured, and then away they got the win and they got the record, which is still huge. I mean, how many years are we going to see a team win 16 games?
I mean, it's only happened twice. So.
There you go. Congratulations to our Toronto Argonauts. I'm going to get into their uniforms a bit later.
Okay,
we're going to discuss that a bit later.
Especially, and I guess alternate jerseys was something you want to comment to.
Oh my God! We're just yeah. Okay, you might need earmuffs when you're done. Okay, when I'm done. All right.
Speaking of earmuffs, get ready for those loud cars. Formula One was in Mexico. They're going to be in Brazil this weekend. So you can't win a race in the first corner, but you can certainly lose the race in the first corner. And
yes, you can.
Boy, did Sergio Perez blow that race in the first corner.
What do you think it's going to cost him for his ride?
So there's already rumors that the decision has been made for Ricardo to replace him for next year.
Wow.
I don't know how true that is, but that's been floated around.
If anybody knows their history.
And Ricardo had a fantastic weekend.
No. And considering this, the cars that he's had to drive this year, he's handled very well.
Especially considering AlphaTauri is not
a
good car, or debatably the worst car on the grid.
And he's kept the car on the track, and I don't know if he got the top 10, but he did race very well.
Seventh, so that's worth 4 points? No, six.
Whatever
points.
the case may be, and I keep harping back to this, go watch Drive to Survive to get your history on it, because you'll fall in love with the racing after that. Next level competition. But he was a key figure in it, and it was a weird history of, this is the emergence of my athlete of the year for 2023 so far, which is Mr. Max Verstappen.
Well, we're running out of time, so I don't see that changing.
Okay, there we go. So in my opinion, I just want to shout out this just one more time. I don't know if I said it last show or not, but please, people understand this. Aaron Judge just had a 60 home run season. Connor McDavid scored 100 and what was it? First time over 150 points in how many years? Messi lost his mind over winning the World Cup. And the accomplishment by Max Verstappen, in my opinion, eclipses all of those, in my humble opinion, because enough people aren't following it on a regular basis for whatever reason they're not. But if they did, this accomplishment in his sport is on a level of like Gretzky scoring 92 goals. You know what I mean? Something like that, hitting 2,000 yards rushing in football. Or whatever ridiculous stat you want to put in a team sport, Max is there. Congratulations to Mr. Max Verstappen, who also may be my villain of the year.
He's won 16 of 19 races.
Crazy.
And meanwhile, his teammate Perez has retired into the last 4 races, and he has not gone on the podium in the last 5 races.
That was a terrible crash, too.
And it was completely his fault.
Yes, I know what I mean.
It was 3 wide. He got off to a great start, was on the gas at the right time. 3 wide was Leclerc sandwiched in the middle and just turned into him. And then his car kind of popped up. It was a bit of a scary moment there.
It was. The thing was, I'm not as versed as you on it, but as soon as I seen him going in the corner, of course, I had it on PVR and I backed it up to see what happened. What are they trying to do that on that corner? That just doesn't work with 3 cars.
No, I mean, he probably didn't know it was 3 wide, but I mean, if you don't see the guy beside you turning, you got to kind of figure something's up.
Oh,
right?
Something got up. You know what I mean? A couple of the other boys were not too impressed with Perez.
The Red Bull guys?
Yeah. Or? No, what's his name that he took out too? Was it McLaren guy? No, the other guy. Remember when he hit Buddy's car and took him out? Because that one guy got wiped out too, didn't they?
Are you talking? I don't know.
Was he the only one? Mess, was he? Yeah. But a couple other guys got knocked out. One of the guys got his car, and you could see him staring across the track. I forgot to see what thing it was, because it was clearly Perez's fault. And when you go into a corner like that and you wreck your car, that's like, what, a lot of preparation to be over in, 3 minutes?
Oh, my God. And how much money?
Oh, let's just get at the money aspect of it, you know. But we're not going to bore you with this, because you guys go out there and learn for yourself how much fun it is watching the competition.
I actually have one more thing to say.
Sure.
So Lance Stroll's seat has become kind of a hot-button topic lately, especially because Daddy might sell the team.
Oh, really?
So Aramco.
Oh, he's done.
So Aramco, who's they're their biggest sponsor. The word is that they want to buy the team from Lawrence Stroll. And on top of that, Cognizant, who is a sponsor for Aston Martin and supplies them with a lot of analytics during the race, which is obviously a huge tool in F1.
Oh, yeah.
They're pulling out.
Oh.
So obviously Aston Martin not in a great spot there. So Dad might be thinking time to sell here. And obviously, if that's the case, I imagine Lance's contract is going to be.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
But Perez might find a seat there, so everything might work out.
It always falls into play. That's weird how Formula One falls into that.
Silly season, they call it, right?
Nothing against Stahl, but I mean, this guy Stroll. Anyways, whatever. Yeah, Stroll. In any event, if you don't know who he is, I wish my dad was that rich, for starters. Okay, number one.
All?
Okay, so if your dad's that rich, he's a competent driver. Is that the word?
I mean, I would say more than competent. He's been on podium a few times. He's been on pole before.
That's true. Yeah, he did.
You know, sometimes you just question
his car
drive.
Or his drive. Yes.
Yeah. There's, of course, we all know the tennis stuff now. That's his real first love and all that. But I mean, obviously, we wish him the best. He's a Canadian. It's going to suck not having a Canadian on the grid if that's the case.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, and also the big news. I guess this is still in the world of rumor, I suppose, but. Audi, the big news was that they're going to come in for 2026 Well, they might be getting cold feet.
Why?
I think it's because of new leadership at Audi or at VW Group, I guess. And they're saying like, oh, F1, this is how much it costs. Oh, it doesn't bring in that much money. Oh, time to get out.
Oh,
and they were supposed to be an engine manufacturer too.
Agreed. Andretti's team's still coming in though, right?
Doesn't look like it. That one could be building up to a lawsuit when all's said and done, because like FIA, who's like the governing body, they opened up the whole thing. Yeah. But F1 doesn't seem too keen on allowing any more teams in.
Agreed.
But I mean, if Audi is out, that's gonna allow for. I mean, obviously, someone's gonna have to take the place of that team because they're gonna buy. I mean, I guess they're already somewhat invested in buying Sauber, who's known as Alfa Romeo right now. Yep. So that could be Andretti's way in. Hard to say right now, but
the politics of sports is everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, especially F1.
That's why I said it there first. You know what I mean? But we'll get back to the good part. Congratulations, Max. Like we said, it's still down to the races are still valid because we got a couple teams behind there trying to get their constructor points.
Ferrari and Mercedes, the battle for second continues.
There you go. That's what it is. And it's going to be a good battle, too. So pay attention, people.
Yeah. You brought up Messi before. He is the winner of the FIFA Ballon d'Or, which is the award given to the player of the year. Obviously, for his impact in MLS.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's a joke. It was for winning the World Cup.
Okay, we know it's a World Cup. But, I mean, look what he did. He went from the World Cup to, like, the only person I got more attention I've seen in the last month is a skinny girl that sings. Besides him, like, how much more press did Messi get?
Oh, in America, 100%.
Like, I mean,
yeah, but like FIFA, they're kind of like that. I don't think they really considered that at all because MLS is like, oh, that's cute. You can go play over there, kids.
Sure, you can, but I'd go play there for that kind of money.
I don't disagree, but I'm saying I don't think this had any bearing in him winning the Ballon d'Or.
Do you think that what's the kid's name that turned down the money from South Africa? I'm forgetting his name.
Saudi Arabia, you mean?
Saudi Arabia.
Mbappe.
What do you think he thinks about this? Because I think that he had a pretty damn good season, too. And the stats
Didn't win the World Cup.
His
team flopped at the World Cup, in fact.
You think that was the difference? If France had won, do you think he would have been the probably player of the year?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. Because, you look at that statistically, he kind of had a little bit better showing than Messi.
And I mean, he stayed against top competition the whole season.
And he stayed against top. That's what I'm saying when you add it all up. But I mean, it's just that sometimes when you get in a sport like this, like I said, the press and the revelations that people had about soccer that I heard on sports shows that I've never heard them talking about soccer before.
Including your boys at Pardon the Interruption.
Including my boys at Pardon the Interruption, who are quite surprised. However, I will got to give a shout out when shout outs work. Tony Cornarza said, when this Miami team doesn't make the playoffs, we'll forget who Messi is by Christmas. If he didn't get this player of the year, he wouldn't be in the news anymore. Correct?
Yeah, but it's off season for soccer in North America, right?
Yeah, so it's probably on the end. Anyway, congratulations to Messi. Arguably one of the greatest of all time. He's in the GOAT
the greatest of all time.
There could be an argument, but he has to be in the GOAT conversation anytime you want to talk about soccer. As far as and he's still only 33, right? 34?
He is. Oh, he might be a little older than that.
I hope he gets a couple of good seasons in here because the attraction to the young people to keep them out playing sports is just as valuable as his total press thing. Because you got to get it to street level. Who's playing the game? You want the kids to get out there going? You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be a football player or a hockey player because they're probably never going to play that game, but they're going to play soccer.
Well, different football.
Yeah, the other football.
Football. He's 36, so a little older than you thought.
Oh, geez. So he's not going to... Yeah, better he's here now.
He'll
still look good.
That World Cup, that was probably going to be his last opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Crowning achievement. Come on. Crowning 100%. Achievement.
I'm not diminishing that.
100%.
I'm just saying it's good he got it when he did.
100%. 100%.
You have anything else to say?
No. I'm just we should move on to where we're going to go because there's going to be some side stories that come up within the meat of the subject matter with which we are going to be talking about.
So first of all, I think we should begin on a little bit of a somber note. Obviously, the Adam Johnson death in England, just completely tragic. If you don't know, he was cut by a skate blade in a professional game in England, and he died soon after, prompting a lot of debate about whether or not neck guards should be mandatory in the NHL and in other professional leagues. Just a tragic story. I mean, you could also view it from a glass half full angle of like, it's a miracle that this is the first time this has happened.
I've heard a lot about that too, so I'm not going to sit on the fence about this seriously because I was shocked when I've heard it. And then again, we've heard out of other skate incidents that are happening over the year, over time.
Let me just cut in and say, if you do go out and watch the video, just be prepared. It's
I didn't
very
watch
graphic.
it. No, I didn't
it's
watch
very
it.
Graphic.
That's what I heard, and I like to be the guy that does. You can't unsee something.
Yeah.
So when I heard about it, I didn't want to see it. I heard that the crowd alone was aghast. The people in the crowd were visibly like, "Oh shit, what went on here?" And I don't know. Okay, like here's what happens, and I don't want to like play lightly with this because a man lost his life. He's only 31 years old, I believe.
Yep.
Very, very young man. The question being is that, like everything else in life, there's fluke things that go on. For example, they put up the netting when the kid got hit in the head with the hockey puck.
Yeah, the girl in Columbus.
Yeah, stuff like that's going to go on. But, I mean, are we going to restructure everything for the safety of one life is too many, so to speak? I kind of agree because as kids grow up, I heard an interesting thing where they were saying, okay, when I started watching hockey, guys were skating around the ice with no buckets on. Okay, then they said, let's go to buckets. And when you're playing anywhere in the MTHL or any level of hockey in this country, you wear a neck guard.
You're dating yourself a little bit. That's the GTHL now, kids.
GTL, whatever. Okay, yeah, I'm old. But and the same with the Quebec League in Michigan.
Yep.
The big, when you play up until you're 16, until you go to the...
I believe in Major Junior, they have to wear neck guards as well.
Is it in Major Junior now too? Okay, so the thing is, and then you come to the NHL and you want to be cool like everybody else, so you don't wear shit.
I actually heard that was a thing with an AHL team this year where someone was showing up with the neck guard and then he basically and the guys were basically letting him know and he took it off. Well,
that's uncool. You know what I mean? This goes back to when I was a kid when Butch Goring would skate around with his helmet on first. That thing that looked like from like Newt Rockney from the 40s, a football helmet.
Well, even like our generation, like Thomas Plekanec, Danny Heatley, those guys always got made fun of for wearing the neck guards.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's true too. But you know what? Like if it's going to prevent everything, and I've heard it from so many people that have played hockey, listen, what's more valuable, your life or your safety? I think your safety coincides with protecting your life.
Oh, hell, 100%.
You know what I mean? So here at the house, that if we hear that they're suddenly going to rule in that we're going to have neck guards.
I think they're going to grandfather them in because it sounds like the Players Association is kind of holding firm.
Yeah.
Even like, remember Richard Zednik was this 15 years ago now? When he got cut with it?
Yeah.
He wore a neck guard for a little bit, but then after he took it off, he's like, what are the chances it happens again?
Oh, gee.
That's how these guys think.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No. I agree with that. So sometimes I say you got to remember, guys out there, your safety comes first. And you know what I mean? And we can't predict it. I might win the lottery tonight. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of world we live in. It's really, when I heard the story, I just went, it ruined
breaks
me.
Your heart.
Yeah, it ruined me. Absolutely ruined me. A guy going there and make a living for his family over in England, and he's not coming home. God bless him and all his family.
And just a lot of trauma to hear. The people, I can't imagine what it'd been like to be in that arena. The poor guy who cut him, that guy's going to need therapy for the rest of his life.
That's true too. And it was such a fluke thing. It was such a fluke thing.
Yeah, exactly. He just got flipped up in the air. Like,
Yep, and away it went. God bless him and his family, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Was that?
I was going to say a couple retirements this week in the NHL as well.
Big shout out to Joe Thornton.
Jumbo Joe Thornton and Paul Stastny both announcing their retirements this week.
I was surprised at the Stastny one. The injuries catch up with him?
I think so, because last year he was kind of like hanging on to that fourth line position in Carolina, but he wasn't exactly running away with it.
No,
it didn't look like he was getting any serious consideration from anyone in free agency, so that usually spells the end,
and
right?
Was he 35 yet?
Oh, he's got to be there, right around there.
Well, he had a solid
he was a rookie
career.
the same season as, I think he was in the same draft as Crosby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know he's been around a long time. He had his moments, but to a great career. Very great career, Paul Stastny.
Fantastic two-way player.
Exactly. In his prime was great. But I want to shout out to Joe Thornton because there's so many things about Joe Thornton that, first of all, he got drafted by the Boston Bruins, so I couldn't
Number
like
one
him.
overall, 97.
I couldn't like him at all. But then Boston shuffled him out of town, just like they shuffled Tyler Seguin out of town, because they didn't do, quote, Boston Bruin things. I mean, Boston ended up winning the cup after that Thornton trade. So maybe. I know, and I say that's a kind of a drag because Joe never got one. But I've always hinted on, like, if you
it's the only black mark in his career, really.
Exactly, but I mean, at the same time, it was like they shuffled and it was all over. A Soundgarden concert, or was that Tyler Seguin? One of them. They went to.
Again, the one there I remember was that it was during the 2013 Cup run. And they had to keep him. They had to hire security to keep him in his room so he wouldn't go partying.
Yeah.
Between games or something like that.
Yeah, he was a little bit of a troublemaker. But I heard too that I remember Joe Thornton during a playoff series got caught in Boston at a club.
Oh, was that during the Montreal series in 2004?
Was that what it was?
The upset?
Yeah, and he was doing, he was crowd surfing. Shit like that. I just know that. And the next thing you know, he's off to San Jose.
Well, he was always off to a weird start in Boston because he had that weird rookie season. Him and Samsonov were drafted the first year. Samsonov wins Rookie of the Year. Everyone thinks that Sergei Samsonov's going to be the big shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got fooled, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thornton ended up developing, even like his last few years with Boston, he was fantastic. He was like a point-per-game guy there in the dead puck era.
Oh, no kidding. And I'm going to say this. I mean, like, people forget about his contributions off the ice, especially since he loved being out in San Jose, and he's an Ontario boy. But what he did on a local level, I heard, to promote hockey in that area, in the Bay Area, was really, really huge. And that should be commended for a guy of his stature, taking the time, not only being such a great hockey player, he had his Team Canada moments.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got his Olympic gold medal.
Yeah, he's got Olympic gold medal, stuff like that. So big shout out to Joe Thornton. I wish he had got drafted by Montreal instead.
Also, one more, not quite a retirement, but may turn into one. Nicholas Backstrom on Washington. Oh, don't. Bye-bye. Why do you gotta say it like that? Because he's stepping away from the game. I think this is the end of his career, unfortunately. Honestly, I think Backstrom's one of the more unappreciated players of his generation. Really solid two-way game. It was never in the Selke conversation, I think, because of his competition just being in the Bergeron, Kopitar, Taves, Jordan Stahl era. Ryan O'Reilly, you can throw a bunch of names in there.
I think that he's there because he played beside Ovechkin.
No, he was a fantastic playmaker.
Okay,
he would do a lot
good.
of great things to draw away the defenders, to get Ovechkin open.
Oh, yeah, no. In his prime, he was very, very good. But what I do as a guy like Backstrom is like, and this seems to hang on in every sport, you get this contract and you're not playing. And all we hear about is your injuries and now you're going to retire. Okay, great. You got your Stanley Cup too, didn't he? Even though, did he make a big contribution that year? No, the year after he had the injuries.
Yeah, he was on that whole cup.
Oh, yeah, he was on that thing there. I'm not saying he's a bad player or not. No, let me rephrase that.
He had 23 points in 20 games during that playoff run. So
the guy was one of the better two-way centers in the league. Okay, there's no doubt about it. In his prime,
cool as a cucumber.
Yes, he was. No problems, no hassles, whatever. I'm just saying these last 3 years, after a while, it gets to be like, are we talking about the infirmary or a man's career? And I don't know. That after a while, I go like, is he going to play or is it not? Like, we're going to talk about a league that's salary cap's just strapped like more than any other league.
Triple hard cap.
You got it. And he's had some issues now with how they're using him for injuries and money too. You know what I mean? He's not quite in the Carey Price situation, but
could be. I mean, people are already talking about, could they be knocking on Calgary's door to try and take another Swedish center and Lindholm, which we'll get to that a little bit later.
Oh, interesting thought. Anyway, good career to Mr. Backstrom.
I'd say great career. Over 1,000 games, over 1,000 points.
You get 1,000 game, I got to give it that. I'll shut up now. I was just never a fan of the guy.
2 World Championship gold medals. Great contributions with Team Sweden. Hall of Fame. What do you say?
You know what? I think when we get down to 5 or 6 years and you're a guy like me who's been like, and then they're going to peel back the onion and then they're going to show the highlight reel.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go, okay, Cruz, shut the front door. Okay, that's what's going to happen, all right? I'm just never a big fan of the guy, I'll tell you the truth.
I mean, I was never his number one fan either, but I mean, you got to recognize good
greatness.
Game, right?
That's what I'm saying. So if he makes it in the Hall of Fame, I think he will make it on his qualifications and his resume. Not because guys like me are picking at him.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I think he makes. I would vote him into the Hall of Fame, but I don't know how the hockey.
I don't know how many beers I would have that day to decide. You'd have to have a good highlight film because there's something about the guy rubbed me the wrong way.
He's got over 270 goals, 760 assists. I think I could put together pretty.
Sometimes he had a guy named Mr. Wilson on the ice, and sometimes he did Swedish things, and Mr. Wilson cashed his check. That's what I didn't like, okay? So let's cut to the chase. You know it, and I know it. I'm not saying...
Wilson came along later, though.
I'm saying the last few years, he had a little more liberties because you had Mr. Wilson on your team.
Yeah, but that was...
I didn't like that.
Yeah, but I feel like once Wilson came on the team, it was more like... the Ovechkin, Wilson, Kuznetsov line.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I agree too. But I'm just saying, anything that ever happened, Wilson was out there, and that's not to take away from Ovechkin, because after he catches Gretzky or he doesn't, Ovechkin will go down as one of the toughest hockey players that ever played too.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? He had that toughness factor. We can never deny that. So, Mr. Backstrom, enough talking about you. If you get to the Hall of Fame, congratulations. Thank God I'm not on the voting committee. How's that?
That's typical Cruz. I can't argue with that.
Thank you very much.
One quick thing we didn't get to last week was it looks like the decentralized NHL draft, kind of like NFL, NBA style. It looks like it's happening. They had the informal vote. Each team got one vote, basically. Overwhelming that teams want to do the decentralized.
Of course, because they understand now, like that the hype night. You know what
plus
I mean?
all the money you save,
production value, all of that stuff.
And people brought up the point too is like you can kind of make things easier to kind of like interact with your own fan base.
True.
Know?
Good. Because it is. I heard it's all fan based anyway.
It should
be. Considering that factor, I never really thought about that. That's
I'm
digging that.
If you're like Toronto, if you're Montreal, I mean, you could afford it too. Where like get that guy in a bird back to that city that night so he could party with the fans. Why not?
Oh, that'd be just great.
Why not?
It's going to be there. And you know what? We also have Mr. Bettman, who's running things, has been in the other PR offices like the NBA. So come on, he knows what he's looking about. But more about Mr. Bettman later.
And the only people that seem to be upset by this are media people or people in hockey who have kind of like just left. But, who cares? We're getting our way as fans. You know why
media people it is? Because it's not convenient for them and their travel and what they want. They've got a good job anyway.
Sure.
So part of your thing...
Well, and they're missing, like, I'm sure there's a lot of cool moments on the draft floor that, like, only they see, so they're going to be missing out on those.
Exactly. So what? The fans get a little more and they get a little less. So what? Stop it. Quit whining. I wonder what O-Dog says about this. I'll have to ask him.
They probably brought it up on the show, I'd imagine.
I don't know. I haven't been watching it.
Well, from him now, he's kind of like it's not like TSN has the draft anymore, anyway. So
exactly.
He'd probably enjoy this anyways. But let's not beat around the bush. The big news of the week: Ottawa penalized a first-round pick from a trade that did not go through.
Damn.
This is a year and a half ago now.
Damn.
If you don't remember,
and the carnage is in Montreal.
Vegas supposedly traded Evgeny Dadanov.
Stop. Explain this clearly to our fan base.
That's what I'm doing.
It's clearly give the Cole's notes, the Waldo version, because come on, bro. Just go ahead.
I'm getting to it. So Ottawa traded Dadanov to Vegas a couple years ago. Then Vegas later on, this was after a few months of getting him, they were going to flip him to Anaheim at the trade deadline, and they were going to give Anaheim a second-round pick as part of it. Well, it turns out Dadanov had a no-trade list, and Anaheim was on said no-trade list. So there's a big kerfuffle here.
Kerfluffle? Is that all? Come on,
stop it. Take it lightly. Oh. But my thing is like, so apparently the big thing is that Ottawa on the trade call didn't say to Vegas about his trade protection, which I think is absurd because you would think the NHL, who's on that trade call, would be like, well, wait a minute. He has this trade protection, whatever, and that should just be like you should be dinged with like a fine there like right away.
If this is on a corporate level, they'd be in court. Let's put it this way. But 100%. I'm gonna come from this angle, and I was telling you our favorite commissioner, Gary Bettman. I'm really thinking that if I had my way, I would bitch slap him into frickin' the Great Lake, and this is the reason why. The owner's name is Michael Andlauer. Andlauer, okay. This guy came in with good faith, putting a lot of money into a franchise that was a little bit, but he came in, no questions asked, came with the money, said we're going to do this, even talked about building an arena closer to downtown to satisfy the fan base. Okay, so now you're talking about a business on next level, billion-dollar operation. Now, number one is, he's losing a number one draft choice. Wait a second, Mr. Bettman. Doesn't everybody know the rules? So you're in the room with this guy talking about welcome to the NHL. Glad you brought over. This is how we operate. Oh, we don't tell you everything. That's rude. Like the Batman doesn't know. Don't they put this thing? Don't they have a PA? Oh,
well, that's what he was like. His press conference was amazing.
I love the guy. I didn't even know the guy when I heard that. And you know what? The only thing he didn't do was swear. But you know what I mean? He basically said, you guys are a bunch of pieces of shit. I come in to do $1 billion business deal. We sit down at the table. I'm welcome like a champ. And as soon as I turn my back, there's a couple screws loose on the car and the wheel goes off. You know what I mean? It's like we use salesmen and you pull up the car ring, oh, we forgot the engine. Who in the hell would not have that registered that there's a clause where it's not going to draft? Is this Ottawa? Is this the NHL? And I can't got Vegas is out. I mean, Vegas should have some kind of like Vegas. Oh my God, we got shafted. No. This should be registered on next level.
Honestly, I think Anaheim's the team that got shafted here the most because they were supposed to get a second-round pick out of this.
Oh yeah,
that
that's
they never
true
got.
too. But anyways, the bottom line is, was there no respect to a new owner? Like, you got to, like, this guy's coming in the door. You're treating him like a knight. Come on, sit down at the table. And then you piss in his wine glass? That's just brutal. And then people said, oh, you had to fire Dorian. Wait a second. He had to go. He's your general manager. He made this deal. If I made a mistake at, like, of this level at my work, there'd be security waiting for me at the door so I couldn't get into the place. This is on a level fiasco I've never heard in sports. In my all 4 big sports, and I'm an old man, I heard a lot of things. This one here has blown my mind on the corporate level.
Yeah.
Like, why one operation of this level, a $1 billion franchise sold to a new owner when they were begging for someone to buy the team in Ottawa, comes in with good faith, good money, all these things for the fan. The first thing you do is lose a first-round draft choice. Dorian had to go.
First of all, we'll get to this a little bit later, but I do not think this penalty is going to stick.
Okay. Maybe.
I think it's the big hubbub now. We'll get to that a little bit later. But obviously, this did cost Pierre Dorian his job.
It should. Don't you agree?
They're saying it was a mutual, but I don't think anyone's buying that. One thing that Elliot Friedman said that I thought was interesting was when the NHL does these investigations, it's basically like, you better tell the truth or else. And it sounds like maybe Dorian wasn't the most truthful during the investigation, which might have ended up helping cost Ottawa a first-round pick.
Okay, so let's look at
really, if you look at it, does this punishment fit the crime? I don't think so.
Yes.
First-round pick?
Oh, no. I don't think I thought Dorian losing his job.
Agreed. But it cost Anaheim a second. A second-round pick seems fair to lose in this situation. It's not going to make or break anything, right? But, I mean, second-round pick is not nothing either.
No, agreed.
But, I mean, I think this looks bad from all angles. Any fan, any dummy with a computer can go on Cap Friendly and see that, this guy's got a 10-team no-trade list.
This is what blows my mind.
Why is this not in Central Registry?
Whatever the case may be, we're talking about $1 billion operation. You know what I mean? Levels of money we can't even stand. Corporate boardrooms I'm never going to get into. And they make a Where's Waldo move. Oh, where's the draft pick? Oh, what team's he going to go to? This is insane. Blows my mind. I cannot believe at this level of sports that this kind of incompetence went down. And not only that, to a new owner. Like, if he had been there a few years, then he'd bite the bullet. Like, if it was a guy like Oni Raiders or a guy that, or the Toronto Maple Leafs run or Bell in Toronto. If those guys were running it for a few years and they didn't pay attention, that's shame on you. This is a guy that came in the door and brand new and good faith. And he lost a number 1 draft pick. Hey, welcome to the league. We're taking this.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But I do agree with you about because he's got 24, 25, 26 to make the decision. They can just kick
this can down the road, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Which is basically what New Jersey did when they lost the first round. Well, they were they were punished by, they were supposed to lose a first round pick for the Kovalchuk contract. But then a new owner came around, and then they're like, maybe we won't punish you anymore. So.
Well, maybe the precedent is set, because I really liked, how do you say his name? Michael Lauer. People, go online, check this guy's press conference, because I thought he was cool as a cucumber saying F you.
Yeah.
You know
and they're not finding him either, which I love.
Oh, no, I think if we had to find him, he would have freaking sent out some, I would have been down to the NHL. I'm putting this on Bettman. A lot of this on Bettman. You were in the room with the guy, bro. Like, you didn't know. First of all,
Okay.
Okay, wait a second. When he was signing the papers, they didn't tell him they were investigating Pinto either. So you're a new owner. They don't tell you they're investigating a guy for gambling on your team, which is proxy, which we understand.
That one I can at least understand more.
Okay.
But like this one, it's like, well, we're going to investigate your team and you could potentially lose a draft pick.
Okay.
Like, come on, bro.
Okay, here's the deal. Both of these operations, most of these investigations were going on in the time frame that he was going to the meeting with the NHL to buy the team. It was all in the time. That's what blows my mind. In the last year. This all went on in the last year.
The difference is
Pinto didn't come from nowhere, by the way.
I understand that. But like that one, like I can understand like wanting to keep that one on the DL, on the down low.
Okay, I got you.
But this one, the Danov situation, everyone's known about this for over a year now.
Oh, that's crazy.
Come on, you got to say
crazy.
something. This is slimy by the NHL.
Oh, yeah,
this is,
yeah. Very
Pierre
much
Dorion
so.
looks like a slime ball after this, too, for not disclosing
when's
this to
he getting
Vegas.
another job?
Man, I don't know.
He'll be in the scouting department somewhere. He'll be in the scouting department for Shoresy.
So
the Shoresy team. He'll be scouting for Shoresy, okay?
So one thing I want to ask you is, what is Pierre Dorion's legacy now?
Oh, get out the door. Oh, like the funny contracts that he signed, the bad goaltending moves. Like, who's the goaltender we were just talking about? Ettinger and...
Ottinger. No. It was... Oh, my God.
You know
he had the same... Gustafson, the one they traded to Minnesota.
Yes, there you go. Like, what's his legacy going to be? You ran the car. You didn't know how to drive a 5-speed. That's what happened. When you put it in the wrong gear, you hit the wall. That's going to be... Do you going to feel sorry for this guy?
I don't.
I mean,
you know what I think is his... kind of legacy that he's going to leave behind. You remember that interview when like everything's falling apart for Ottawa? And they're like, oh, what do you guys say that's positive? And he kind of paused. He just said, we're a team. I think that's his legacy.
No, that's going to come back to bite him in the ass. But here's the thing is how quickly it switches in the NHL. Okay, we said it's only 1 game but. Well, now, people, it's 10 games but. And last time I checked, that's 1/8 of your season.
Oh, yeah.
That's 1/8. So I'm not saying we have a huge sample size because I'm going to go to your school of thought and talk about let's get to American Thanksgiving so we can formulate where we're going with some of these teams for real. Ottawa got off to a blistering start. They were playing very good hockey, and we know what happens after but. Where have they been then? They've been talked about everything but what goes on the ice. And then who's the other player that's playing around the league that went? Did he go to Detroit? Dorian let another guy go through that's having a breakthrough. He's a good.
DeBrincat.
Yes. Okay.
Well, it sounded like he never wanted to be in Ottawa, but
bottom line is you still got to know what did they get for him. I don't think they got value for him now.
No, they traded way more than they got for him.
Exactly. So. That's what I'm saying. So this guy's legacy, man, you know what he's going to do? He's going to get a tow motor license and work in Tobico. We need a lot of people driving around, warehouses and stuff like that. I think this is one of the scummiest stories I've ever heard. And me personally, there's other things that go off the court and gambling issues and domestic issues and all that other stuff. But what really gets me about this whole issue is the level it is on a corporate level. Like a corporate level, billion-dollar NHL operation, and something like this slides through so that we get to talk about it? This is insane. Guy, crazy.
It's ridiculous.
One of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. In Ottawa, you know what? I don't know what it's going to do for the team. Does it galvanize them? Or do they just go down a manhole?
Well, the interesting angle here, too, is what about DJ Smith? Because the guy that hired him is gone now. His protection's gone.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
He's feeling a little warmth under his rear end, if you know what I mean.
Well, you know what they say, a new broom sweeps clean, and when Mr. Andler, how do you say his name? Andlauer gets in, these people were already there.
Yep. So Steve Stais, who he's the GM now, or acting GM or whatever, right?
But he was his consultant too. I heard through the whole time of this operation, the owner was dealing with him to find out more what was going on. So he's probably the most trusted employee that he has. Because I'm telling you what, I'm thinking everybody to the Zamboni driver is going to be out of this organization within the next year.
I believe it.
This is going to be a drop back for Ottawa.
Because Stais was this guy from the junior team.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly, yeah. So was
it Hamilton, the Bulldogs, I believe it was?
Yeah. But in any event, you know what I'm saying. This is his guy. Like, it's like when you're going to buy something and you're really, really interested in it, but you need the expert guy beside you to hold your hand. This is his hold your hand guy.
Sure.
So he's not going anywhere. But you think that coach is lasting by the end of the year? He's gone. I think Ottawa's season's out the window unless
it depends on the record. Yeah. Maybe they can turn around. I mean, I'm not going to say that they have some talent, but they're not like world beaters.
No, but I mean they were considered an outside shot at making the playoffs this year.
I never really bought into that. I think it's going to be...
I didn't buy into the Habs either, but that's another story. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute.
Well, I've been proving right about the Senators, it looks like.
We're not saying... Okay, that too. And you know what I mean? Which moves us on to Ottawa, since we're into Ontario. I want to ask something. You know what I mean? I know some people that work down at Scotiabank Arena, and I hear it's got really, really good ice.
Some of the best in the league.
That's what I'm hearing. So what did they do? Did they put sand on the ice before the game against the Kings the other night? Because what were those guys skating in?
Maybe the Leafs forgot to sharpen their skates or something.
No. You know what it is? Am I going to hear this again? And I hate this about every sport. Oh, they went on a 5-game road trip. They came back. It took a day to get adjusted.
Even though you look at the data, that's not true at all.
Thank you very much. So when
We'll
you
score one for analytics.
Thank you. So when I hear this, I go, okay, so all the boys get home. They had to satisfy all their girlfriends and their wives, and they had no legs for the game. Is that what I give them? Is that a polite way I say this? Come on, bro, it's your team. It was your team. They hung the kid out to dry, and he's not even going to get the start tonight because those guys didn't skate on Thursday.
I also think... the Wall Samsonov thing, I also think they want to put Samsonov in a position to succeed.
Why?
The contract.
This is last year, isn't it?
But I believe he's still under team control for another year.
Yeah, he is a team option for the third, I do believe. So if he plays great, they keep him. If he
the NHL doesn't do options, but...
There's something weird about his contract.
Oh, never mind. He will be a UFA.
Thank you. I was pretty sure about that. So
you pay a guy $3.5. I mean, you don't want to just throw him away.
Check the tape and see what Cruz said about Samsonov. Check the tape, people.
I get that. It's a long season, though.
It is a long, and you should have a tandem. I agree. A tandem is far more successful than running a guy into the ground. I will say that. But listen, when you got a young goalie like this who has played a lot, and I was saying this last year in the playoffs, I was a big fan of Wall going into the season, as we well know.
We know that.
Okay, so now that this guy has surfaced faster than I realized, and his side to side is great, eh? And he's a big boy. Yep. He's not a little guy, and he goes side to side.
He's like 6'3", I believe.
Oh yeah, but his lateral movement is excellent.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a game where they come back to town after having a relatively successful road trip.
You got points on the road.
Oh, you did very well.
And they're on their longest road trip of the year. So
well, that's great because they won't have this excuse again for the rest of the year. Okay, but I'll look at.
Oh, just you wait.
I'll find some. In any event, who played?
I'm just saying, just you wait for the excuses later on.
Who played goal on Saturday night against Nashville?
That would be your friend and mine, Ilya Samsonov.
Okay, so there you go. So why didn't you take the other win and let him come back? I don't know. You know what? I keep hearing, it's a scheduling thing. Oh, it's this, or it's doing that. And I'm going to talk about what Montreal's doing with their goaltenders is making me nervous too, but that's another story. If a guy's on a little bit of a roll, I think that he deserved to play tonight against Boston, and they could have waited one more, just not to tell the kid. And he didn't have a bad outing.
No.
Don't get me wrong. He didn't have a bad outing. Giordano scored one. Who else scored one? Because two went off guys. They were flipped.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He had no chance of those
the
goals.
Giordano one was brutal.
Oh, did you see Giordano? That's when you know you got a veteran. He just looked right back. He went right to the kid.
Yeah.
I love that about him. He went right to the kid immediately. I'm rewinding, on the PVR. What did he do? Then they showed he went right to the kid immediately. That's a sign of a good veteran, by the way.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? Hey, I sold you out kind of deal, right? But that's not what we're going to talk about, selling out. I'm thinking that the Leafs better tell the truth about their goaltending too, because the other thing they've got to worry about is this. Their defense is really not that good.
And they're already down a man. That's part of the problem, too.
Yeah. Oh, McCabe?
Yeah.
And McCabe was playing terrible. Again, he's playing like in the
playoffs. He's better than the next guy up.
What are they doing? Are they bringing a guy up from the Marlies?
Well, they called up Lagesson. He was in against L.A. I believe
he didn't look bad.
I believe he might have been in that game in Nashville, too.
Yeah, he didn't look bad.
It's okay.
I'm just saying that, and I really like this guy because last year we had this discussion. I won't bring it up again, but Liljegren, I don't know. I try to defend the guy, but it depends what shift he's on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Well, he looked good, and then he gets out of position. You know what I mean? A couple times you see him, he's looking like, God, look at him carry the puck. Look at him move. And all of a sudden, when the goal looks in the net, he's made the wrong pass or gone in the end zone. Coming out of the zone.
Yeah.
He's made some blunders. And Brody, your boys, played okay.
Oh, sure.
I'll give Brody, I'll give him his props considering what he's doing. And Riley's playing relatively, maybe not his money worth, but you know what I mean? And after that, I think
Riley's been fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Offensively.
Even in his own end, I'll take him.
So the word around the campfire is now, is there a problem with finding a winger for Marner and Matthews? And they're talking about Nylander's great year, which I think they should. But I know in 5 games from now, when Matthews scores 4 more goals and continues to be one of the best players on the planet, Willie Nylander will become Robin once again. Agreed?
Sure, but I have your answer for who's going to be on that Matthews-Marner line. He's already on the roster.
Who's that?
Matthew Nyes.
Oh, he's coming, don't you think? Because they're wasting him there a bit.
Yeah, he's been kind of I don't know what word you want to use, kind of just sitting there on that third line stewing.
Well, you know what it is? They don't put Domi out there consistently. Like him and Nyesman playing together, they've had their moments.
Sure.
But that's another thing with Keith always doing in the middle of the game. He thinks he becomes a mad scientist and starts switching the lines. Wouldn't you want to do that a few more games into so guys can get comfortable playing? All of a sudden, Domi was out there the other night with Camp and who else? In the middle of nowhere. And
I mean, that's been the third line for the last few games. Camp, Nyes, and
who's the fourth line guy?
They have Pontius Holmberg with McGregor and Reeves. That's been the fourth line.
He's been out there with McGregor sometimes or whatever.
Who's got some speed.
He's got great speed, no hands. But then we don't know that. He's too young. I'm just saying this.
Well, he's 25. You are what you are at that point. Good
point. He's a good skater.
Sure.
I'll take the skating because, the forechecking will win you, and that's what L.A. did the other night. Once they got that lead, what did they do? It wasn't look like they were going for their chances, and I think the Leafs outshot them in the end. But L.A. just said, let's forecheck them. And can I have just a big shout-out to this, because I tried to bring it up last week, about when you have veteran defensemen out there that can anchor it for you. This Drew Doughty guy, I wonder if they've already made his plaque for the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Like this
Hall of Fame, they should already have his banner ready for when they retire it with the Kings. All that.
And take him back to London so he can get a Knights graduation from the London Knights.
Guelph.
Was it Guelph?
He's a Guelph Storm.
Okay, Guelph Storm guy. Did you see Doughty the other night? He still looked 25 years old.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Well, he's just a great hockey player. I don't know what he does. Maybe everyone should lose their two front teeth. I don't know. But this guy the other night, what was he on the ice for? 28 minutes.
That's
or 26
typical Drew Doughty night.
And never even looked tired. He was out there at the end when they were like pulling the goalie and stuff. He was out there all over the ice, which is saying Giordano is never in the same conversation with Doughty. But
even though they both have a Norris Trophy.
They both have a Norris Trophy, agreed. Just saying that Giordano brings that veteran presence to your team with which you need in these days and age. I'm telling you right now, I think that Elcombe, or whatever his name is, on Edmonton is a very prominent defenseman, but he doesn't have that chi. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He doesn't have whatever it is that those veterans bring to the table.
He's not the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he's looking good because I'm telling you right now, Edmonton could use one of those guys. Even though I think Edmonton, we should bring them up. They're going to pull their way out of this slide, aren't they?
I think they will.
I do too. I really do. And I've seen their next few games because they had a horrendous start. What did you think of the Classic?
Man, I think it comes across just worse for Calgary. I think it just cements them as having to rebuild, retool, whatever. They got to do something.
I heard somewhere in a show already that people are snipping around for their top two defensemen already, and it's 10 games in. You can't do that, can you?
I mean, it sounds like they put the negotiations with them on hold. So, I mean, like, what better time than now? Otherwise, you just risk them to getting injured.
Okay, so what do you do then? You've already copped the season at 10 games?
I mean, sometimes it's
too early.
No, that's the sunken cost fallacy.
Ooh.
If you know your team's going to be garbage, like get the assets, get those draft picks, get those prospects.
So that means that you're going to have to take what are their three best players right now and look at their contracts. What do you do with those three? That's big money for three guys. Let's start with Nazem Kadri. Let's talk with Johnny Herberdeau. And who am I missing? The other guy that cries all the time.
Other guy that cries.
On Calgary. Remember last year when I didn't know Sutter was so mean to me. Because they can't blame it on the old dog now.
No, they cannot.
All that talk about once we get rid of him, we're going to show you what kind of team you are. Bitches are bitches are bitches. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know if it's a bitches or bitches thing. I think it's just more like
chemistry?
They lost Goudreau and Kachuk, rather. Two guys that are
wow.
That hurt them more than we thought it would. I think that's the takeaway here.
Monumental, pantomime loss.
Because those guys are both arguably like
character guys.
And they drive lines.
Yes. I'm saying
Huberdeau's a support guy, and he's made that very clear this season.
Hasn't he ever? And he's making what, $8 million a year? 10?
10.5.
Oh my God!
For like the next what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh no, it's ridiculous. 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
my God, his contract. I thought it kicked in last year. It kicked in this year.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So let me tell you this.
Oh my God.
Every time Nylander's agent sits down for a meal, what do you think he's doing? Exactly. He's going, look around the league, guys. You paid that guy. You played that guy. Right now, I will argue that Nylander's playing as one of the 10 best forwards in the NHL right this minute. Okay, I'll give you an hour to figure out. We don't have that time. Or maybe it'll come up next week. You know, but I mean, like, give 9 guys that are playing better. Those kids in Detroit, yes. Jack Hughes, okay. Colin McCarr is banged up again, eh?
Yeah.
His size. Remember I told you about his size scared me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His size scared me, and that's what I'm saying. You got another one of those little scrums and bangs and boom, and the way he went. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's unfortunate, but you know what I mean?
I want to ask you about the Vancouver Canucks.
I think they're for real.
Ooh.
I think they're for real. I see they play good hockey, man. What's their goalie's name again? I looked.
Oh, Thatcher Demko. He's a bona fide stud.
Oh, he's been playing. You know what? Because I'm watching the late night. And, oh, by the way, everybody out there, and I should say this to you, I'm convalescing very well. Because people have now found out I did have an unfortunate little thing happen, and I was working with a broken sternum, and I should, everybody that shouted out to me, I appreciate it immensely. I don't always get back to you as quick as you can, but as Andrew will tell you, I only hold my chest half the time that I held it the first few shows, so I am getting better.
You're looking much better, I must say.
Thank you. In any event, I'm up late now because I'm off work and I'm watching these games. The Quinn Hughes defenseman is another stud on that team, and their first two lines play well. I always question, why was anybody questioning this Patterson guy?
Elias Pettersson?
Remember their question about
I never got that.
You know what I mean? I always say, would he have his breakout season? Is he going to do that? I see him play. He plays both ends of the rink, too.
He really does.
He plays both.
He's bulked up a little bit,
yes,
too.
Yes, he has. And he's a great skater. I'm thinking, I'm gonna investigate Vancouver a little bit more as going on. But as we look at them, so to speak, where's Vancouver sitting after 10 games?
They're second in their division right now.
Thank you very much. If someone had told you that earlier in the year, what would you have said? You're a liar. You know what I mean? But
I would have said lucky hot start, but I mean, they're not.
We're going to get to hot starts in a minute, but that's just the way I can't wait. But anyways, I really think that Vancouver in their present, I think they need a bit more scoring, like every team. Which team doesn't even any more scoring because there's a precipitous fall off when they get to their third or fourth line. However, and it must be a trend in the NHL. Look, talking about the fourth line guy in the Leafs. If you're on the fourth line, man, you better be able to skate. You better be Elvis goddamn Stoico. You know what I mean? Because I've seen a lot of fourth liners on teams I didn't know that guys just whizzing up and down the wing for their 8 minutes. You need that. And I do notice, and I'm going to give your theory right, even though I hate the analytics. How many times the fourth line takes the face-off in the offensive zone? More than twice.
Oh, yeah.
And usually that guy, coincidentally, has a high win rate on the faceoffs. Yep. It's weird how that happens.
I feel like that's always been a thing, though. The fourth line centers kind of being your face-off expert.
On a lot of teams, I've noticed that, especially when they're doing this. A lot of teams are pulling their goalies early for that thing there.
My favorite thing.
See, that's the difference between old and young. I go, get back in the net, goalie. Get back in the net. Look at this failed for Toronto the other night 3 times in the last games I've seen it. They pulled the goalie with 2.5 minutes left. I say the 2-minute mark. I think beyond. And all 3 times, Toronto, Calgary, and I think it was Nashville in the last 4 nights all pulled their goalies.
I would give myself 2.5 minutes for every goal I'm down. So if I'm down by 2, I'm pulling my goalie with 5 minutes left.
Your balls must be as big as a fucking moose's. Excuse my language.
I gotta have the cowboy walk.
Okay, I'm saying whatever it is, but you know what? I don't know, because here's another thing when we're talking about that trend going on, and we mentioned this earlier in the year. The penalty shot is here to stay.
Oh yeah,
the penalty shot is here to stay. I'm questioning. What is the percentage increase already? 35%?
Oh, it's a lot.
It's like insane amount. And you know what? I would say, when I hear people bring it up, and your buddy Elliot Freeman is one that's been all over this, I would say 80%. Okay, 90%. No, some of them are questionable. I'd say 80% of the takedowns are probably penalty kills penalty shots that they didn't call in the past that maybe they should have called now. So maybe they're straightening it up and getting more level playing field, do you think?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
But I think
because you'd see that all the time where you're like, oh, that should be a penalty shot, but then it'd just be a regular 2-minute minor.
Does this have anything to do with the TikTok world and we need more scoring?
Oh,
do we ever get into the league office and say, let's make it a penalty shot instead?
I don't think so.
I'm thinking, come on, man. Every time in sports something goes on this way, you go back to the league office.
Yeah,
and
but
there's a bug in there. Okay, it's like when they find out when baseballs are flying out of guys' hands, and then Major League Baseball.
Okay, but at least they're. But what's your theory based on?
Everybody loves the one-on-one. You see the crowd when there's a penalty shot? Especially if you're the home crowd.
I don't know. I'm going to need to see some proof. At least with baseball, with the juice balls, we had the evidence that the balls were being stone tighter.
Did you see the game was tied? Vegas has got, they're unbelievable coming out of a Stanley Cup like this and playing like the way they are. But here they are. They're close to their first loss against who this year? Do you know who they almost lost to here? I think they're a team from Quebec. You know what I mean? Okay, they play in La Belle Province. Anyways, they called that penalty shot on Eichel. Was that a penalty shot? That's one of the ones that I went, well, you know, like if they had just called that a penalty, I would have agreed. Because sometimes I'm thinking a lot of players are going to say, well, I don't want the penalty shot. Got a better chance at 2 minutes. No, they don't. Nobody shoots a puck on the goddamn penalty.
No, I take the penalty shots.
Okay, so they're taking the penalty shot. So the guy's got his one-on-one, and it's Eichel. Did you hear the crowd in Vegas? Oh,
they love him.
Yeah, but did you see? Because the game was tied. He scores. It was like what? And it was less than 10 minutes left in the game. So I'm going, in Vegas, all that money on Vegas. Let's call a penalty shot with less than 10 minutes left with one of the best guys on Vegas. Nah, that doesn't happen. Come on, I'm dreaming. I had a bad dream. You seen a play. Was that a penalty shot?
I thought it was.
Oh, that was one of the ones that I'm going 50-50. Some of the other ones I've said, okay, that's a penalty shot. Maybe I was a little...
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a human element to calling penalties, though, right?
But he was going in to check. He was taking the body. Eichel went down. I thought Eichel, you know what, if that was NBA, it was Eichel went down pretty easy for a 6'4" beast.
Sometimes you just lose your footing.
Stop it. The guy went down like a bowling pin. Both. And the arm went up, and I thought, okay, that's a penalty. I agreed with the penalty. I'm going to take, when I seen penalty shot. At that point in the game,
freeze when the referee pointed to center ice?
I jumped into the screen. I was not impressed with this. Is the wrong time to be doing it. It was the first period I could have handled it, maybe.
Sure.
It was the time of the game, where it was, and the situation. That's what drove me crazy. Well, Cruz, that could have happened in any situation during the game. Stop it. It was less than 10 minutes left in the game, I believe.
So we're over an hour into the show. I want to know what you think about Montreal's hot start.
Can I just say something right now? I'm going to tell you this right now, and I said it before the season. Our defensemen are keeping us in the game. We don't have any superstars. I think Savard...
Hold on, though. You were shitting on a few of the defensemen early on the season.
But they're not playing. The guys that I didn't think they were going to play aren't playing anyway. They banished those guys. But like Aberjacki, Gooley, Savard has really played his point. Kushevich.
Isn't Savard out again, though?
Yeah, he's in another lineup. But he's there for every game. I heard he's on practice and all on that time. Because
he's listed on injured reserve right now.
Yeah, he's on the sidelines. I think he's missed like 5 games.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got a bunch of kids out there. So that's
a lot of 23, 21.
Thank
so
you.
Age of their defense, 29, 23, 25, 21, 21, 22, 26, and 33 with Savard.
Okay, so you know what? They're playing with no fear. And I think that they got a lot to do with the coaching.
And it's on some hunger, too. These guys are playing for jobs, don't forget.
Exactly, because a lot of these guys weren't drafted high either. Now, there's another thing that's going on, too. St. Louis isn't stupid. That line of Monahan, Gallagher, and what's his name, the other old guy. Like, they're our third line, basically. Mm-hmm. And these guys go out there and they play it every game. And they get a little bit of power play games. Sometimes they're out there against the best line. They're checking them. And is Gallagher over? No. Gallagher, if he fits in the same position that he is right now, I'm not saying he's worth that money. But to play that two-way role all the time and get us 20 goals, we'll be okay with that. We skate well. We check well. We've got one of the best penalty kills in the league. The problem with our team right now is who's number one. No more shopping, goalie. Primo, I like you. But if Primo's going to play, like I'm saying with Wall, let the goalie play. Where do you get the consistency? Like
it's the same thing with the Leaf. It's a contract issue. With you got the guy at the top. He's kind of clogging the pipes, right?
And he's played well. Jake Allen's played some good games. I'm not saying, but Montalban has played some big games. So I'm saying,
and they want to get Primo in there.
Okay, so I'm saying that doesn't work, bro.
No, a 3-goalie system never worked. Okay. But the problem is, like...
When did we put him in? We put him against Jersey.
I get that. But the problem is, like, if you put him on waivers, Tampa Bay...
Oh, but their goalie's been playing great.
But they could use the number 2.
Oh, of course they could. But that kid's playing great for Tampa Bay. Back-to-back shutouts, too, eh? A big boy, another big boy.
The team in front of him isn't bad either. But.
Oh, no, better. They're better than we expected. Remember, we expected Tampa Bay to have a comeback. They're not coming. They're in every game. But I really say this. It's only 10 games, but I'm going to wait for Montreal till we get to Thanksgiving Day, and then we'll have a better picture on it because we've only got blown out 1 game. That was in Minnesota. No, 2 games really. We had no chance. Jersey bitch slapped us in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Every other game we've been in, and we're 5-2-2. That record's like a game better than the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we're going to tell me that you thought
1 point better, easy.
It doesn't matter. We're 10 games in, and we're 1 point ahead of the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's when I looked at the standings. Look on my tablet right here. It says Montreal. Can we go to the Atlantic Vision? Oh, look at that. Montreal is ahead of Toronto on my tablet.
Last I checked, the playoffs begin in April.
I'm just saying you got to win in October to get to April.
Sure, but like you can't play yourself into the playoffs in October, but you can...
Don't lose games.
Sure.
Now, here's what's going to piss me off. We better show up in Arizona in the kids' rink tonight. We got Arizona. The way that we've been playing, we better like we don't come out with at least a point, because I was worried about Vegas. When we stole a point was great. We had a chance. Did you see in the shootout we hit the goalpost too? Oh, it was killer. But then again, that's Vegas. 9-0 Stanley Cup champions. Can I allude to the fact that these guys are Stanley Cup champions that are taking no step back?
Sure.
Isn't that amazing?
It's unbelievable.
You know what I mean?
I honestly can't believe that Vegas is this hot out of the gate.
Oh, 9-0 or 9-0-1 now.
9-0-1.
Okay, thank you to my beloved Montreal Canadiens. We'll stop, because you know at the house that happens, I haven't said it in a while, we keep tabs on the Habs. You like my shirt?
I do.
Thank
no,
you
that's a lie. I don't.
Okay.
One thing that kind of gives me a reason to pause about the Habs, though, is
can't score.
Yes, and they kind of, you're gonna hate this comparison, but they kind of remind me of the early 2010s Toronto Maple Leafs in a way.
You know what? I'm not going to take that as a negative, because that's what we look like.
Because don't forget those Leaf teams, they'd have some hot starts, but
and play their asses off.
But come Christmas time,
bye. Well, that's what I'm scared about, because the last 3 seasons we've had, except for the year that we went to the finals, the 2 previous ones, our after Thanksgiving to New Year record is the worst in hockey.
Oh,
something like that.
Really?
It's bad. You know, it is so bad, it's unbelievable. So let's get through the hump. I'm going to say one thing about Montreal. Please give Slabowski a chance. He looked good with Kirby Dach. One of the things that screwed us up in the end is because
he has
too long.
Not been a factor this year.
None at all. He's. I think they should let him penalty kill more, really. So get out there. That's my opinion.
But
he's a big boy.
That's kind of putting the cart before the horse, though, don't you think?
I don't know. He needs something to break out, because those first couple of games he was playing with Kirby Dach and it was looking great.
I would maybe try and give him some more power play time. That seems a little bit more safe.
Okay.
Penalty kill, that seems that can bite you in the ass way too much, I think.
Probably. Great skater, though. The kid can skate. I don't know what it is. He's had chances. He's made great passes. He's been okay, but the stats say he's not. They wouldn't keep him in the lineup if it wasn't. My thing about Montreal is that here's what you got to talk about, that teams that make a playoffs. You got to have a plus goal differential. What are we sitting at? At 5-2-2, I think we're a minus goal differential, and that's what makes me nervous, and that's why I say we got to score more. Yeah, that's what scared me. We're on
-2. You're right.
Yeah, see, that's the part that, you know me, I'm not an analytic guy.
No, but I'm a plus minus goals. That's I say plus minus is a team stat. So
well, in any event, I mean, we're getting away with -2 because we've been in a lot of close games. But when we've lost, like we lost 5-2 to Jersey and 6-2 to Minnesota, and all the other games we've lost 1-5-4, lost 3-2, went into overtime. So right now, it's not something that it's something I'm concerned about.
Sure.
I hope we can improve upon it, okay? Can I say something about hockey there? Because we're going to go through most of the team. We could be talking about how bad Calgary is. But before I forget, I don't care how good of a hockey player you are. What McAvoy did the other night, 4 games is a gimme, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, if we got to do what was that guy thinking, which is benefiting you guys, because he's not going to be in skates tonight. So good.
I believe him and Lindholm, I think, are
they're
both
going to be out. So you guys have no excuses.
Big opportunity.
Huge, because those guys
Big
are
opportunity is bad
25 minutes a night players.
Yeah.
Okay? But my thing is, what's his buddy got one too? Was it Minnesota? The Dallas guy got one for 4 games for whatever they did that little swing too.
Well, there's the Calgary defenseman too. He got 4 games.
He got 4 games too. But this is the worst of them all, I thought. The other guys went into the guy. He just went by the guy and whacked him in the head.
No excuse.
None. And this guy's supposed to be like maybe a Norris Trophy guy?
He's in the conversation every season.
Okay, there you go. So, I mean, you're playing 25 minutes.
Not for the Lady Bing, obviously, after that.
No, but I agree with that. And you know what they should do the next time, and I hope it's not a Hab? Give them 6. If you're going to talk about player safety and you're going to be serious about
player safety in the NHL is such a joke. Let's not beat that
remember
horse.
Remember this. 5 years ago, it would have been 2 games.
Sure.
Okay, so at least we're getting to 4
But
games.
there's no consistency.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
So we've got 3 now in games. Now 3 guys. He's the 3rd guy that's got 4 games for that type of hit. His was the worst because the other guys knew it was coming. This, he just freaking laced the guy for no reason whatsoever. Could have cost the guy his livelihood, whatever the case may be. 4 games, I'm going to start saying, let's go to 5. The house that happens is now voting for, if you do something that stupid again, 5 games, bro.
A couple more things for hockey. First of all, San Jose Sharks, do they ever win a game this season?
Oh, my God.
Should I read you their goal differential?
I think it's minus 20-something.
Minus 26 in 9 games.
Yes, I know it because I checked
so
to see who was the
they're being
worst.
outscored an average of 3 goals a game.
I was checking because I was looking around the league to say who else is a minus. I looked at San Jose and said, now, they're a team that says a wholesale sale, but they got a new arena coming, right?
I believe so.
Okay, so I think what they're doing is they're trying to pile it up so they have a new team to go into
new
the arena.
arena?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, but yeah.
I mean, we knew they were going to be bad this year.
I never thought. They're the opposite spectrum of Vegas.
Yeah.
We thought Vegas wouldn't be that good. We didn't think San Jose would be that bad. Yeah,
no, I thought San Jose would. I knew San Jose would be this bad. Who they have left?
Nobody.
They have like Vlasic on like a horrible contract. I think like Couture and Hurdle are like the only like.
They'll all be gone at the trade deadline.
I don't know. They all have no move clause. That's the problem. But also, I think a big story here is how bad the Pittsburgh Penguins have been out of the gate. 3-6 to start the year. Their goal differential is only a -3, but I mean, those losses speak volumes, don't they?
Because they don't know what they're doing on the back end with Carlson and what's his name?
Letang?
Yeah,
which is funny because look back to San Jose. Carlson Burns, that was a disaster.
This is disaster part 2, maybe?
You're speaking my language here.
Because I seen them first 3 games, and I'm going, I was pumping their tires a bit. They were looking pretty good to me. But their defensive zone coverage, like how many bad goals have you seen Pittsburgh give up this year?
A lot.
In critical situations. I seen Crosby the other night chew a stick off. Because I forget who the defenseman was. Did one of those cross-ice passes up the middle. And I think it was even Letang. They broke in 2-on-1. The game was tied, scored, empty net goal, Pittsburgh go home. You lose. That's a $10 million defenseman that made that play. Come on. I don't know. With their age and their thing, I thought this was the last dance. But,
they're already 5 points out of the playoffs.
Way to go. We still only got 10 games.
Yeah, but, okay, so Elliot Friedman had a stat. At November 1st, if you're 4 points out of the playoffs, only one team has come back from that.
Really?
And it was one
St. Louis?
No, believe it or not, it was one of the Daryl Sutter Calgary teams from the mid-2000s.
Really?
Yep, only one.
Wow, that's a crazy-ass stat. That is a crazy... I mean, you know what I mean? Them and Calgary are... Like, Calgary is another huge disappointment.
They're done.
I can't see what's going on there. They got a front office thing, and I think that your general manager slipped out the back door just in time because that's his team.
I think that was a mutual parting there. He probably saw the writing on the wall.
But why did you guys hire him? Didn't you look at his track? Didn't you check his resume?
He had some good moves.
Yeah,
we all know what's going on in Calgary. It was the owner that's meddling, though, right?
I agree, and not only that, the owner should have gave the wrong people money.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But anything else around the NHL that I find interesting is what was the other thing I want to say? Oh, the people that are keeping the league on fire right now that are under 25 years old.
Make it quick because we're already running long here.
In any event, I hope that Connor Bedard is one of the guys that can stay back up because he's flailing away on a shitty team.
All right, so we'll take it from a rookie that's, well, he's not really struggling too much, but his team is. But to a rookie that's been flying out of the gates, Victor Wembanyama.
Is he the real deal? Is he the real deal?
So I want to talk about Victor. I saw an interview with him. He was asked what his favorite movie was. And to my surprise and my enjoyment, he said Star Wars.
You're kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and the first thing he said about it made he just says, "Oh, by the way, the last 3 didn't count." I loved him even more after that.
Oh, that's
fuck those Disney Star Wars movies. They can burn in hell.
Yeah.
Dig them underground. Send them with everything else there. Oh, Victor, I love you so much.
Is that a hate on? I've heard that, and I'm not a big. You know me. I'm not a big guy. I like the Star Wars early ones, but I've heard that so many times, and they want to throw the other one on top of it. What's the Luke movie? The Luke Skywalker movie. They want to throw that in there too.
Luke Skywalker?
No, not Luke Skywalker. Han Solo.
Oh, that movie was awful.
That's what they said.
Oh my God.
I've read that thing where they go, the last 3 Star Wars, and if you want to, throw the Solo one on top of it too. That's what I hear. You know, and I'm not a big fan, but that's cool. The kid did that because he grew up in France.
Yep.
And you know that. I mean, that just lets you know that Star Wars is international, so
Well,
to speak.
we knew that. We knew that, but
it's great. A kid is his age to say that. But the big thing about Wembanyama, I'm going to give you this observation about him. Go to McDonald's more. I think it was absolutely hilarious that he came to the game as Slender Man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good, you know, like he's listening to the press, but he's getting great guidance. And I heard that the old vets from San Antonio are coming in to help him too, talking nutrition, games. Like he had an interview last night, a couple nights ago, but they stole a game from the Phoenix Suns that I can't imagine because the culprit of the theft was the legendary Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, it was one of those games where it was the tortoise and the hare. I think Phoenix was already making reservations at the strip joint or restaurant because at one point they were up at 20 points. They were sailing away, but I got to give Greg Popovich credit because that team came at them, just kept coming. And then the biggest thing about the NBA is why not? We're winning by 15. Why don't we take a 3-point shot 4 seconds into the shot clock? That makes a lot of sense.
Guys do that if they're losing, don't forget.
They do it when they're winning too. It just drives me nuts about the NBA. I can't stand all these threes. If you can't make them, don't shoot them.
I thought Popovich was stepping down, though.
Oh no, he's gonna go till you got to have cardiac. No, I shouldn't say that.
No, he shouldn't.
He's gonna play.
That.
He's gonna play until he drops dead. He's still a great coach. But the nucleus of that team with some of the draft picks that they made a couple years are turning out well because they weren't not necessarily top 10 guys, but we're finding out sometimes the guys that are drafted between 10 and 20 sometimes turn out to be as good as the guys that were drafted in the top 10 because...
Well, NBA, I find most of the time all the good players are gone in the top 10, though. There might be a Kawhi situation where a guy he slips to like 15 or something.
Two of the guys on San Antonio that are starting were drafted between 10 and 20. That's why I'm saying that. I noticed that. Okay. But I'd say top 5 I'll give you. But a lot of these other guys, like Marcus Fultz went first overall. What's he doing for you?
This goes back to my thing. Like, you can't...
It's not a guarantee.
No, I agree with that.
It's not a guarantee. That's what I'm saying. So
I'm just saying most of the time, by the time you're out of the top 10, like, all the studs are gone.
Well, that's what they're saying. Sometimes you may find it with somebody else. Like, I'm even saying, like, the kid, Scoop Henderson in Portland. He's a rookie, too, but he's having his moments because what they're doing is he's the only guy, so they're bum rushing him a lot.
Yeah,
so
he's got no supporting cast.
Yeah, and he's having trouble. But they come in and beat the Raptors, but we'll get to Raptors in a second. Yeah. The thing about Wembanyama is that he's going to have to learn is that this is a weird thing about the NBA, and it's been like this forever, and this is why I was shocked. Have you seen the play? If you haven't seen it, Kevin Durant got the ball stolen out of his hands, and the guy put it in with 1 second left to win by 1 point. The problem was the guy freaking practically raped Durant. Durant's at the press conference with two...
Oh, my God, that's a little strong.
Did you see his face? He had 2 gouges in the face. The guy grabbed him, elbow up. The other guy pulled him on the side, and then the ball went into Durant's hand. Durant was waiting for the foul call.
Sure.
And it never came. And I thought, wow, Durant's been in the league more than 15 minutes. These kids are running around. So here's what I predict. They play again tonight where they're doing that NBA thing where you stay in the city for 2 nights and play 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm expecting Phoenix to put a beating on them so badly, even though I expected Booker and Beal didn't play, which is a huge thing when you don't have those
Is Booker still out? I know he had a toe
thing. He's coming back tonight. The word he's coming. And Beal hasn't played yet. Which gets us to Wembanyama. You are a revelation. You are a gentleman. He was brought up well. Have you heard him talk to the cameras and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
He's
well-spoken.
Well-spoken, carries himself well. I can't wait till he gets a few more pounds on from McDonald's, which is a great story in the NBA, which brings you to the other story that we're going to have to bring up, and you know what that is, correct?
Are we talking about our buddy with the beard?
This guy has gotten away with more than anyone has gotten away with in professional sports. And that's Mr. James Harden.
Now, I saw a funny thing online. I think you would enjoy it. Let me see if I can find it here.
This guy's gotten away with too much. He hasn't got all his money, though, but I don't think he deserves that money. Like, he's left, I heard he's left $50 million on the table.
So, this is it. 2 of the happiest days of an NBA's fan's life are when their team trades for James Harden and when their team trades away James Harden.
Well, it's going to be an interesting dichotomy because when you look at the out West right now, Denver's definitely going to be Denver. But look at last night. The Lakers
Clippers game went to overtime.
Yes, it did, and it was a very, very good game.
All the stars showed up.
Everybody showed up. They played well. Kawhi Leonard, everybody. Well, you call him Mr. Load Management or whatever you want to call him. He's still one of the best two-way players in the NBA, bar none.
I believe he played back-to-back nights and he combined for 75 minutes. Which
75,
is, when was the last time you could say that about him?
I don't know. Jesus was a baby, I believe. But the guy looked great last night, and him and Paul George. Westbrook is good. The other pieces like the Grayson Allens and he's on Phoenix. The other guys, the Clippers, they got a couple other players. I know Gordon's on the other team too. But in any event, I really think the Clippers are going to make a better run if they can make this mesh. Because Paul George is still a superstar. He was great. Him and Kawhi and LeBron James last night, again, proving why he definitely has some GOAT conversation, whether you're Michael Jordan freak or not. I mean, come on, the guy, nobody's played at this level at that age. Not even Mike. Sure. Not even Mike. Mike played good, but not Mike.
Kareem.
Not Kareem. Nobody. He's playing at next level. He's got the Lakers up at 3-2. I think that the Lakers still have a bit of a rotation problem. How the guys come at the right time. Whereas I think that the Clippers are going to have that more defined, because the interesting thing is...
My problem with the Clippers, though, is especially with Harden now, don't you think it could be a case of too many cooks in the kitchen?
I was just going to bring it up. You got two ball-dominant guards. So what does it do? Does Harden...
And Paul George and Kawhi.
Oh, yeah, but Kawhi's always can play off the ball. Kawhi, even in Toronto, he brought up the ball and he played off the ball.
Sure, but just another kind of thing to add to the equation, right?
Well, Harden led the league in assists last year. Remember that. People forget that, all the bad things they say about him. He led the league in assists. So I'm just saying, if someone can, and I think it would be him more to play off the ball a bit and get your open look, because Harden's I think his scoring's going to go up because he's going to find himself with more open looks. Because it's going to be a dogfight. It should
work out that way.
But then again, a lot of things should work out, because you got 4 teams there that are going to be dogfighting. And that's the Clippers, the Suns, the Lakers, and Denver. And by the way, we didn't even bring up the other team, Golden State Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking about that's going to be a dogfight out there this year. You know what I mean? But we haven't played too many games to really discuss where things are going. I just want to say this. The thing about the NBA, it's sloppier than the NHL to start the season.
Oh, for sure.
Again,
we went to that last week.
I'm telling you, you watch it sometimes, guys are jacking up threes like it's last week's newspaper, and it makes me sick. They forget to play defense. The Chicago Bulls, I say it a couple times, and they're getting wise, because what they do is they go inside to Levine and DeRozan.
After their players-only meeting?
After one game, which was ridiculous. But they played great since then. Maybe they had...
the Raptors puked up that game. The last 4 minutes, they were terrible. They were terrible.
So can we talk about our Toronto Raptors?
Yeah, so obviously a big win last night against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Huge.
Believe it or not, that makes me feel worse about this team.
No, it doesn't, because what they did...
No, I'll tell you why.
Why?
Where's the consistency?
Well, because we've only played 5 games, so their rotation is good. So let me just say one thing about the rotation. Grady Dick, you stay in the 10th in the rotation. This guy's supposed to be a Betty Deadeye 3-point shooter. He bricked half a dozen last night.
That's pretty common for rookies coming into the league.
If you're a 3-point shooter, you're a 3-point shooter. They gave him open looks.
Yeah, but in college the 3-point line's closer, right? So there's an adjustment period.
No. I can't go with this.
And you're playing against professionals. All of a sudden there's huge guys coming at you. You can't tell me that there's not an adjustment period there.
Full disclosure. I am a replay nerd. We know that. Drives my wife crazy. I'm a replay nerd. What did that guy do? Rewind.
Oh, we get mad at my mom when she does that.
Oh, your mom does it too?
Yeah.
Love your mom. Hey, Mrs. Milani, we should watch a game together. We get it.
You guys can watch it in slow-mo together.
Oh, yes, I keep rewinding it too. What did that guy do? This Dick guy has had some of the most open looks I've seen in the NBA this year. If he made 50% of them, I'm happy. He bricks shots. I think it's nerves. So I'll give him a few more games because the sample size isn't good. I'm just going to say this. Scotty Barnes is now playing the best basketball I've ever seen him on the team. He's becoming a leader. Anunoby has played as good as it's going to get, except for Anunoby. Don't take the threes all the time. When you're hot, shoot them. But he shot us out of the game the other night when we lost.
He takes a little too much sometimes.
He took a little bit too much. What we got to figure out to do with our big men, Boucher, Precious, and the big white guy, Pirtle. These guys, how we get them in rotation, we go in and out, because sometimes we go into them and then we don't, and we start chucking up the threes, and we look terrible. Because what you have to understand about the Raptors is right now is we did not compromise our defense.
No.
Our defense is as solid as anyone I've seen all year. We don't make shots, or we have bad selections. Or like every other team is, when you're getting closer trying to make a comeback, why do you have to jack up a shot? 24 seconds shot clock, right? You're shooting by 19, 20 seconds. You got 19, 20 seconds left, and you're firing the ball away. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's not some college game where you're playing against like Appalachian State or
exactly.
something.
It drives, and then what they do is when the game gets close and they need the shot at the end, they pass the ball around and the clock runs out. What's your take on Gary Trent Jr. so far?
I like that he's starting on the bench.
He's coming off and he's giving us some shots. He's got to play a little bit better defense. But
no, that's not. I don't know if we'll ever see that. But.
Okay, so then he's a trade deadline casualty if the team goes the way it is. But I'm going to tell you this. I still say that the over-under on 36 wins in the Toronto Raptors, I say it'll be over.
My worry about this team is like I'm worried we're going to be the Calgary Flames of the NBA because like there's no I don't know, maybe Scotty's the guy.
Say that.
Maybe Scotty's the guy. I hope he is.
He's playing great.
I'm worried we're going to be in that situation where we're not good enough to make the play in, but we're also not bad enough to keep our first round pick. Because don't forget we traded our first round pick to San Antonio for Jakob Poeltl, and we only get it back if we're bottom 6.
Exactly.
So if we're not bottom 6, we're going to be like praying like fingers crossed like during the lottery.
Okay, we're going to figure this out
man.
because
that's not a way to live.
No, and I agree.
It's a horrible way. It's horrible.
We're going to get tighter, but what we should talk about, because we don't have a lot of time about this, is that what we're going to have this year for the first time, and you see those really cool commercials for the in-season basketball tournament.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about this?
I stand by my take before. Everyone's shitting on it now, but once your team is going deep, you're going to be all over it.
Okay, and they end in Vegas and all. And I understand this. Every one of these games costs for the whole season, by the way. They cost for the whole season. It's not just because it's an in-season tournament. Yeah. It all goes towards the regular season. What's going on is that I'm just like how they broke it down into the 4 brackets.
Yeah.
How they decided that. And then if you lose one game or you lose another, like, you know what I mean? Where is it going to go? It's going to be interesting because it's going to be round robin. And, of course, when the championship game ends up in Vegas, it's going to be hyped to the nines.
Oh, Final Four is in Vegas, I believe.
Final Four is in Vegas, and everyone gets a little break, which the NBA players are liking because they say it gets them a little early break in the season.
Sure.
I guess. I don't know, because the games have been fast and a lot of games so far. Like the guys have played 5-6 games already. And
Raptors are actually playing right now against the Sixers, so
that should be interesting. We're not going to spend a lot of time on basketball because it's too soon, too early. Big shout out to LeBron for proving that he could be the GOAT.
And you're not even a LeBron guy, and
I don't mind LeBron, but I'm just going to say right now the only teams that have impressed me so far, and I hate to say it, are the Boston Celtics. 4-0. I hate to see that. This Porzingis has fit in really, really well. Denver lost one game because they took the night off.
Who else is 4-0? Tell me.
Nobody.
No. There's another team that's 4-0.
What other team's 4-0? Who am I missing?
Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, yes.
Luka Doncic.
They shouldn't be 4-0. They got some Luka calls at the end of the game, and they played shit teams. The jury's still out on them. That guy is going to be my bitch of the year again, no doubt. But Dallas has looked good. They signed the right depth players, so to speak, right?
Yeah, because that's what really hurt them down the stretch last year after the Kyrie trade, right?
Something. So anyways, we will just keep this until well into the in-season tournament because what we should be doing, and we're saving this towards the end because it's the most valuable things we do talk about, but we do have to congratulate the Texas Rangers for the first time in their history winning the World Series in a playoff that I thought was above average at best for most of the playoff years I've seen, except for the last 3 games of the World Series. And guess what? Arizona had to go to a bullpen game, and guess what happened? And
nothing good happens after but.
Thank you. So I'm just going to blow my own horn and say, if you don't have starting pitching, you don't win at all. And look what Texas had going down the run. They had Evaldi and Montgomery at the front of their staff who pitched great.
Yep.
They were amazing. But here's another little thing that people forgot during the season. Texas was in first place in their division longer than any team in baseball.
It's like 100 days or something.
Yeah, not long. I think Atlanta was the only one because Atlanta jumped in and
they own that division since mid-April.
But whatever. So I think the only team that was in first place longer was Texas. They had a little fall down at the end. So obviously we shouldn't be too surprised because the nucleus was there.
No, I mean, in August, I would have said Texas would have been my favorite to win the World Series.
Yeah, yes, at the time.
That fall down was a little bit scary. I kind of...
Huge!
I fed in too much to that, obviously. But
even the last weekend when they blew it, when they could have won the division.
Yep.
And
they were still right there.
And they blew a game then. They had to be in the wild card. But the real record is, how do you win 11 games in a row on the road? This is unheard of. And this is since, I don't know, Babe Ruth days or something nuts when they never played that many in the playoffs. But they won 11 games.
There was only the World Series. That was the playoffs back then.
But think about this. They won 11 games in a row on the road.
Insane.
That's just an unbelievable stat.
I wanted to say, Mom, I took you to a game against the Texas Rangers. I took you to a game against the World Series winners. Don't say I didn't. I never do anything for you.
There you go, Mom. You got to a good game.
It was the game that Max Scherzer got injured too, of all things.
Damn,
and he was dealing that day.
Yes, he didn't look. You know what? They played him better in the second time around. He got in his 9 outs and got him out, which I don't like. But then they had.
I mean, when you have a guy that's not 100%, I mean, that might be the way to manage, load management. Let's just say.
Okay, but then the smart thing is they had Montgomery before that, and he went 7, so the bullpen was rested.
Nice and rested.
Yes, and the thing was with I thought Arizona done. It came back to bite their asses. I think they ran people out of the bullpen a little bit too quickly, and they were relying on Galen and Kelly.
Even earlier in the playoffs, they were doing that too.
Yes, I thought it was.
They were pulling their starters a little early.
Yeah, but look at Galen last night. He went 6 no hit. They didn't get a hit off the guy till the 6th inning. So when they had their frontline guys, I really felt bad for Corbin, who had a great
Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll, his great showing in the World Series. He's going to be a guy for seasons to come. He reminds me a bit of a young Altuve, even though it plays in the outfield, the way he plays the game. But to have that air when the ball skipped by him, they're calling it the Bill Buckner move. Not even close. But the fact was, there's only 1-0 at the time, and went up to 3-0. And a big shout out to our ex-Blue Jay, Marcus Semien. Hits that home run to get it. No, we're not going to take any time to bring up Marino and Gurriel at all. We're going to do that in the spring because we just wanted to know by then that how many baseball pundits are going to call it the worst trade in baseball.
Don't disagree. Corey Seager, World Series MVP. Will he also win the American League MVP?
That's going to be interesting. His stat is there's only been 4 guys that have won 2 World Series MVP.
Oh. I'm wondering who's won the regular season MVP and World Series MVP in the same year. That's got to be a very short list.
I don't know. Maybe Reggie Jackson in those 70s, I meant. But there's only been 4 guys.
Probably.
Bob Gibson is 1. Reggie Jackson is 1. Seager is 1. I can't remember who the 4th person is that won 2 World Series MVP, but I think it might even be before I was born, so that doesn't really count at the house that happens because we're not ghosts. Is it 4 people? I think it's only 4.
I'm on the page for World Series MVP winners, and it's not giving that information. So we'll have to do a House That Happens deep dive later on.
We will, but I think it's Bob Gibson was one. If I may say, that's how long I've been watching baseball. Bob Gibson was my first favorite baseball player of all time. Big shout out to Gurriel and Marino, though, and a big shout out to the Arizona Cardinals, who 2 years ago had the worst record.
Arizona Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks had the worst record in baseball.
Great turnaround.
You know what I mean? And we're the Toronto Blue Jays. We're in the big smoke. What are we going to be doing in 2 years?
Big smoke coming out of their ass. How about that?
Okay, when Vladdy's leaving town. Any event, big shout out to the Texas Rangers. I thought the baseball playoffs were really, really good this year, except for the last couple games. But even last night's game was great. It had all the drama you needed. It just broke out in the 7th inning, and it was game over. And that happens a lot of times.
Unfortunately, no one was watching. Game 1 had record low ratings. Unfortunately,
when I heard this, and this was caught me off guard, some of the baseball playoffs were really good. Now, I heard that the NL and ALCS numbers weren't bad. What happens is, what markets did we go to?
That's the big problem.
I thought the Texas market would have been bigger, but I heard everybody in Houston shut off their televisions.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There you go. You go like that. And Arizona belongs to the Phoenix Suns.
I mean, Arizona is not a great sports market to begin with.
5th largest market. 5th largest.
But no one's talking about
market.
Arizona as like having like these diehard sports fans, right?
No. It's like Miami. They're the top 7, but nobody has a top thing there anyways. So I hope.
Well, Miami Dolphins, but
Hurricanes are bigger.
That's college. Well, we can get into that later. But
that's Florida. But in any event, huge shout out to the Texas Rangers for winning the World Series after falling down after being in first place for 100 games. Arizona for your tenacity to get there. That shows that every team in Major League Baseball, if you put the right players together in the right combination, you will win. And the defense on both of these teams was outstanding, even though you think it's only 10%. But mostly we should shout out to Mr. Bruce Bochy, who is one of only a few coaches that have managers that have won 4 World Series. You know how short that list is? I was shocked. Like a couple Yankees guys. But, I mean, outside of that, I think the number's only like 4.
Yeah, it's not
Joe
surprising
Torre,
at all,
I think Torre of the Yankees, and of course
because he's got 5, I believe.
Whatever, and Casey Stengel or Joe McCarthy's the big guy. And even Sparky Anderson, my beloved fave, he only won 3. La Russa only won 2.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the Bruce Bochy, that's
La Russa's only got 2?
Yeah, we're only got maybe 3.
Oh.
Oakland, he only won 1.
I guess he only got 1 in St. Louis.
One in there. Yeah, he's been in the World Series a bagload of times.
Oh, so Oakland, they went, 3 in a row they had,
3 in a row and only won 1.
Yep.
And then St. Louis went 2 out of 3 years and they only won 1.
Yeah, because they lost the Red Sox that time,
So I think it's only go 2 there. But thank you once again for giving us a great baseball season. Mr. Akins, I don't want to hear about the renovations going on at the
let's not
Sky
get
Dome.
into that.
I want to hear what you're going to do to improve the team. Which gets us to the final thing that we'd like to talk about on this show, which is the monolith. Oh, by the way, we forgot to do this really quick. We got our Saturday night hockey picks. Should we run through them quick? Just wanted to let everybody know that if you're gambling with us, we're just going to do this quick because we're going to do the NFL ones later. Last week in 9 games, Mr. Milani beat me in the selections because we were so good. He got 5, I got 4.
Out of 9. So none of us were world beaters. But let's get right into...
really quick, and we'll give you a chance. Saturday night, we have a slate of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 games in the NHL.
30 of the 32 teams in action.
There you go. So now, if I could just find my little implement with which to write on. We're starting with the Preds and the Oilers. I'm liking the Oilers.
I like the Oilers there, too, despite the fact that Jack Campbell probably gets the start. He's got to bounce back sometime, right?
Eventually. Then we have the Jets and the Coyotes in Arizona. Interesting game.
Yeah, I got to... give me a second here. I got to see what Arizona's home record was like. Because last year, they had a sneaky good home record.
And they still do. Like, they're not horrible by any means.
I mean, they only have... 3
4-4-1.
They've had 3 home games this year, and they've won 2 of them. So
they're not bad. But in any event, they're 4-4-1, so they should lose tonight. So you like the Jets or Coyotes?
I like the Coyotes.
You like the Coyotes? I like Hullebuck and the Jets. I think they're going to get their act together. The Habs and the Blues, you know who I'm taking. We don't even have to go there. Come on. Habs and the Blues are off to a very auspicious start. Not bad, not good, because the pack out there is like everyone's 3-4-1, 4-3-1, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
At home, so you like the Habs or the Blues?
I like the Blues. Give me the home team.
That's a good thing to be taken at the time. Sabres and Leafs, Saturday night, prime time.
Oh, you know who I'm taking? I'm expecting Joseph Wall to be in net for that one. Give me the Leafs all day, baby.
I'm giving the Leafs too. I will give you the Leafs there. You got to. We have what I think is the most interesting game because it's a game where one of the teams is already established and another team that's trying to. The Bruins and the Wings in Detroit.
That should be a very interesting one.
That's what I thought when I seen the slate.
Bruins are on a roll. They say never bet against the streak, and I will not. So give me the Bruins.
I wouldn't give Bruins. My dogs picked up feces. Then we got the Lightning and the Sens. I think the Sens are going to be so disorganized. They're going to either get slapped or not. But I'm liking the Lightning. And their goaltending problem seems to be solved for the moment. Agreed?
I agree. Give me Tampa as well.
Okay. We got the Blue Jackets and the Caps, which is probably the worst game of the night.
Don't disagree.
Okay, so I'm taking the Caps merely because it's at home.
You know what? I'll take the upset this one. I think Washington's going to be searching for a little bit of answers after losing Backstrom. The roster's kind of in flux. Columbus is a little stronger defensively than we may give them credit for, so give me Columbus.
Another interesting game on the slate on Saturday night, which is coming to a long end of a road trip for the Los Angeles Kings, but they play the Flyers in Philly on Saturday night. I'm starting to believe that the Phillies are a little overrated, so I'm taking Kings for the upset.
I'm taking LA too. Philly, after that hot start, is already starting to fall back down to earth.
Goaltender's been playing relatively well.
I like Carter Hart.
This may be the biggest game of the night in this early in the season, and it's the Hurricanes against the Islanders on Long Island.
Freddie Anderson expected to start that one, has been undefeated this year for Carolina, 4-0-0. However, I like Sorokin. I like the Islanders.
I like the Islanders, too. We're seeing a lot of things the same here. So
that's making me nervous. But
yes. We got Florida at the Blackhawks. I can't figure out this Florida team.
You know what? I think but going into Chicago, this should be a win for them.
I agree, too. So we're both going to take the Panthers on that. Now, I think the next one we're going to disagree on because it's the Rangers at the Wild.
And why do you think we're going to disagree?
I'm liking the Wild at home all night. Ooh. I think that the Rangers are due for a loss. And I'm pumping the Wild's tires. I'm surprised that their record is 3-4 and they got a -6 differential, but I think they'll right the ship on that. Should be a good goaltending battle.
Yeah, it should be. I was leaning Minnesota, but I think I might be changing my pick to New York. They've been just so great. Gustafsson has actually had a horrible start this year for Minnesota.
Yes, he has. He let some 9 irons in from the fairway. Trust me, I've seen him. But he'll be okay. Then we got maybe the second worst game of the night, the Pens against the Sharks in San Jose.
I think we all lose this one. You know what? Give me Pittsburgh. I think they're just a better team than San Jose.
I think Carlson going home will say, don't let me lose here.
Oh, sure.
And maybe the biggest game of the night.
Yes.
The Avalanche against the
Golden Knights
in Vegas. Now, I don't know if Makar's playing on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the major X factor here.
If he was playing, I'm going to say they're going to stop that streak, but I don't know, so I'll sit on the fence and just say,
Give me the home team. Give me Vegas.
Because Pittsburgh made Colorado look bad the other night, and I couldn't believe it.
That's hockey, though. I mean, you always have games like that.
So we'll both take Vegas. The Stars and the Canucks, another great game. I'm saying that I'm so high on the Stars that I think that they're going to steal the win from the Canucks to make the Canucks know that they're not the team that everyone thinks they are. Who do you like?
I like Vancouver. I think they let one against the Rangers slip away last Saturday. I think they're not going to let that happen again.
And I'll be going to bed at this time because it'll be the Flames and the Kraken going on, and it's in Seattle. Do you think Calgary can pull it out?
I do not. Give me Seattle.
Oh, I'm going to say that they are, that maybe Malmstrom will get them there. Okay.
All right.
And we'll let you know how bad we did next week. We'll stay on the case. Hope it's better than last time. But I'm thinking of making a picks. Let's get to the monolith and everything that everyone gambles on, and that's our beloved NFL. And can I say this right now? I want to congratulate my Detroit Lions on national team on Monday night for destroying the Las Vegas Raiders. We should have won by 25. And we are so weird that we still gave up a 73-yard pick six. Otherwise, they don't score. And we had 3 field goals. We didn't finish. Detroit has holes. I'm not going to tell anybody what they are because some coaches could be listening for the other teams, and I don't want them to get any coaching advice from me. God bless my Detroit Lions. One pride, Dan Campbell and the crew. Big game for Jamar Gibbs, the rookie that we took in the first round, one of the few running backs that's been picked in the first round. He's a little small, but he can move. You know what I mean? Which you'll just talk about that division for a second. There's no doubt Detroit's going to win the NFC North. That should be, if we don't now, I'm jumping off a bridge. But I want to just say to the teams I hate in this division so much, I still feel sorry for Kirk Cousins, who was having a great year and has gone to the Achilles stand. I don't care what team you play for, whatever. When you're playing, and that guy is the ultimate underdog, he seems to get his due. And he was in the top 3 in all passing categories in the NFL when he went down.
Yeah, he was having a tremendous season. At one point, I think he was the top fantasy quarterback.
Yes, he was. And not only that, the toughest part of Minnesota's schedule is over because remember when they lost those close games against the team?
Yep.
All those teams had well above 500 records, and they had a little pause in their schedule, even though they picked up Dobbs from Arizona, which is going to be interesting because I got Goff on bye this week in fantasy, so I got to pick up somebody. I took him, but he got traded to Minnesota, and now he's not even starting, so I picked up Minnesota's quarterback. I don't even know the guy's name.
Yeah.
I'm in big trouble there. But that division is pretty well taken care of. But we should look around.
I had to pick up Minnesota's quarterback, too, because I had Jimmy Garoppolo, who just got benched.
We're going to get to that division in a minute. But we're just now talking about what's going on.
We got to keep it quick because we're almost at 2 hours here.
Okay, yeah, so we're trying to get into. I liked where we got today with a lot of the show. We're going to get really quick. We'll go division by division because of in our power rankings. Okay.
So I'll just get to the power rankings right away.
Okay, we can get to the power rankings. I'm going to look at mine this way because since I'm cocky about what I believe in, the number 5 team in my power rankings is my beloved Detroit Lions.
Okay.
My number 4 team is a team I've hated all my life, but I got to give them credit. And some reason I'm really liking their Where's Waldo coach, and that's the Miami Dolphins. Number 4. Number 3, I'm going to keep them in this spot just because the skinny girl didn't make the game, and the quarterback had a bad flu, which did not come out till after the game.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes had a bad flu. They said on a normal day he would have stayed in bed all day. So Denver took the sneak, but I'm still saying Kansas City is number 3 on my rankings. Number 2, they cannot be denied, and they're going to prove it this weekend. The Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
My number 2 team with that defense and the way they're playing offense. They're winning up both sides of the line of scrimmage. They have risen up to where I believe they're for real. And number 1, you can't go with anybody against the 7-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who played Dallas this week.
They did.
This coming up. They play in Dallas.
Or they will, sorry. My number 5 is the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, okay.
Number 4, I have the Detroit Lions.
I love you.
Number 3, I still got the San Francisco 49ers on there.
3 in a row losses. That just seems to be a rule about power rankings. You lose 3 in a row, you got to drop out, man. I think I
dropped them 2 spots the last 2 weeks.
I got to drop them out of there, man. Top 3 because where's Cincinnati going? Because I flipped a coin between Cincinnati. The 3 of my 5 were Cincinnati, Detroit, and San Francisco.
Baltimore's been knocking on the door of mine.
Okay, Minnesota, Detroit next.
So Miami, Detroit, San Fran. Number 2, I got Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're staying there.
I'm staying there. Especially after the flu news. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I had heard too. But you know what? I should be more on that slant too because I'm still saying Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl.
I'm surprised they weren't your number 1.
No. You know what you got to do? It's the famous words of that guy that does that first take, the guy that's always on the race card. It's fluid. Things are fluid, correct? You got to give Philly the thing because they're 7-1. They had that fall down. They come back and make one big, even though they didn't cover the spread.
Right.
Cost me $500, Philly, by the way. That really drove me crazy. But the other thing is that, like I said, Kansas City still has to pick up a wide receiver, which they didn't, which is going to make it interesting.
No, they did not at the deadline.
But we're going to go around really. We'll take more time with football next week because we won't have any baseball to talk about. But some of the surprising moves on trade deadline was Detroit could always take an extra guy. I don't understand why we didn't use a draft choice number 3 for Chase Young, who went to San Francisco, so the rich get richer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that blew me away. I think San Francisco is going to be fine. I really don't like to talk
That's
about...
why they're in my power rankings still.
Brock Purdy's had a couple of games where he's missing a bunch of guys. Trent Williams on the O-line, you can't say enough about him, who protects his blind side. He hasn't been there. The defense has faltered a bit, but I think San Francisco will be down there, and I still think San Francisco is going to win that division, but I think what we're doing a very big disservice to is the Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yeah, they've been just sneaking by there. Not many people talking about them, but I mean, they're going to be a wild card team at least.
Oh, 100%. So where's Jacksonville in all this?
Oh, we all know they're going to win their division.
And what are they going to do after that?
I mean, you got a home playoff game.
You better hope they do because they've been playing
if you win your division,
teams.
you're guaranteed a home playoff game.
They play weird teams, even though I think Trevor Lawrence is looking better every day.
Yep.
Here's the surprising thing about when you think about football, and it's who is on your schedule. But there is a scary thought. Detroit's on a bye this week, and if you see their next 5 games, the playoffs could go through Ford Field in Detroit.
Oh, I mean, the rest of the schedule the whole way. Forget the next 5 games.
We're in you know what I mean? So 6, we win 6 more, which is very reasonable when you look at our schedule. We're going to be there. That's the same thing with Jacksonville.
Yep.
Because all those other teams could beat themselves up. Baltimore, and Kansas City's got the tough schedule. Jacksonville could end up with the number 1 seed in the AFC.
That one I'm not completely buying into yet. But
look at their schedule. They're going to have more Houstons. They're going to have more indies. Even though I'm going to say the surprise team, I want to yell this out. This is why drafts don't count. Do you know who Will Levis is? Of course you do. This guy at Kentucky 2 years ago was going to be, they were calling him a Favre or something. This guy was that good. Something happened at the combine where this guy fell. Like I heard, when I first heard of this guy, I heard he was going to be maybe a top 10 pick quarterback.
Yeah.
Something went on in the draft. Now I heard he came in like Hulk Hogan kissing his cannons. That's what I heard. And they said he was jacked to the nines. And all the old-fashioned dudes said, we've never had a quarterback that looked like Hulk Hogan before. Apparently he's ripped. Okay, and he does have a cannon arm. And I want a big shout-out to D-Hop, who's still one of the best wide receivers in the league when you give him a quarterback to throw to. So I'm going all the way tonight before we make our picks, because we could end the show that way, correct?
Yep.
Tonight we get our pick in, and the first pick is the Titans and the Steelers, who've been playing great defense with no offense. I'm thinking the Will Levi D-Hop show wins again, and it's just going to remind everybody how good D-Hop's one of my favorite players in the NFL.
I know.
And now he's getting to show it again. He pushed off on that guy so bad in that first touchdown, eh? I guess they let it go because they were wrestling. And D-Hop's strong. That's what they say. Don't get entangled with him. He'll just give you a shove. But here we go. First of all, before we go there, let's suggest how good Mr. Milani did last week in his picks. Do you want to know how good you did?
Let's hear it.
Cowboys won. Packers, not so good. Indy, not so good. Washington, you got, oh no, it was only 6.5.
Oh, 6.5 at the punt time? Damn.
You lost there. Carolina, you got 2. Dolphins, 3. Titans, 4. Jets, 5. Steelers, not so good. Seahawks, 6. Chiefs, not so good. Zona, not so good. San Fran, not so good. Chargers, 7. Lions, 8 wins. That's not bad, considering. Now, let's see how bad I did. I took the Rams. I took the Vikings. 1. Philly, 2. Took Indy. Got killed. Houston, no. I took the Dolphins for 3. Tennessee for 4. Jets for 5. I took the Steelers. I was on heroin. Seahawks for 6. The Ravens for 7. Cincy for 8. I took the Bears. Lions for 9. So you get 9 and I got 8. So you could win money if you're listening, people. Now let's go to this week, which is going to find there is some bona fide dog fights this week.
Absolutely. We'll start off with the Thursday nighter as we're recording right before the game. Titans at the Steelers. Steelers favored by 3.5 at home. And you know I like Pittsburgh this year. Give me the Steelers.
I'm taking the Titans. So we're already off to a conspicuous start. Remember, I said it here first. Will Levi should have been drafted higher, and he's bringing D-Hop back to life. And we always know the Titans had an O-line because they had the boy back there, the king, who didn't get traded. So you're liking the Steelers? Okay.
I like the steel curtain.
Okay. Next on our list is maybe the biggest game of the week, and we're going to have to watch it
at 9 a.m.
Thank God the clocks go back, so
we
get an extra hour of sleep. We're talking about the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Who do you like?
I like the Chiefs. It's only a 1.5 spread.
Has to be because
and a neutral site game, but give me the Chiefs. Come on.
I'm taking the Chiefs too, but this could be a dogfight or whatever. Here's an interesting game because everybody's lost their quarterback, so to speak, or figuring out what to do. But we've got the Vikings against the Falcons in Atlanta.
Yes, we do. Falcons favored by 4 at home. Oh, boy, this is one of those games where I just hate to pick, but give me the home team. Give me the Falcons.
I took the Falcons, too, strictly on the fact that the home games is. And here's another interesting thing. If you're gambling, every week the home teams are either covering the spread or winning more. And I think it's 70% of the games played in the NFL this year have been under. High 60s, early 70% of all games, bro. In a scoring league, blew me away when I heard that stat.
It's been more defensive this year, though. We've talked about that.
Yeah, you got it. So play your unders, people. We got the Seahawks in Baltimore. Huge game in Baltimore.
Yes, we do. Hold on. Let me find it. 6-point spread for the Ravens at home. This one should be an interesting one, but I'm leaning home team. I like the Ravens.
I am too, and I think they're going to win going away and win by 13.
Wow.
Okay, so it's going to be tight going in the third quarter, you know what I mean? 14-17, 17-14, and all of a sudden they're going to be a pick, touchdown. Baltimore puts it away. Another interesting game of a bunch of who don't know what they're doing is the Cardinals against the Browns.
I mean, the Browns they should have won this one on their defense alone, but that spread big, 8 points.
Because you know what? Cardinals just dumped their quarterback.
That's
or they
probably why.
Yeah, and it's not there. And their defense, Browns' defense is for real.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
They have their own quarterback problems, though.
Aren't we going to be talking about the end of the year? But, like, how do you pay a quarterback $50 million a year to do nothing?
It's
Guaranteed.
One of the biggest mistakes in sports.
We don't know yet. We're going to see later. He could come back. He could be hurt. He could be a little bit fragile. Maybe he had to go.
I think his problem is he can't play football. He forgot how to play.
I think he needs a massage. That's what he needs.
Wasn't that how he got into trouble the first time?
Oh, really? Okay. We got the Rams and the Packers.
Oh, we didn't give our picks.
Oh, you didn't?
Who are you taking?
Oh, Browns all day.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns,
Browns all day. We got the Rams and the Packers. I think Stafford's going to play now. He's 8-8, but he's playing.
Packers favored by 3 at home.
Taking the Rams all day.
I'm taking the Rams, too.
Stafford will be back. He got bum rushed by the Cowboys. We got Tampa Bay with the Texans in Houston. I'm taking the Texans all day because I don't trust Tampa Bay on the road.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, they're starting to lose me a little bit.
Me too.
Houston, a bit of a bad loss last week, but I think they should be able to bounce back.
2 of the worst football games ever in the league this season. The NFL hopes not to see him again. That Panthers Texans game
yeah.
and the Giants Jets.
Ugh.
Set football back 5 years. We have Washington at New England. What are we saying there, bro? Isn't that your guys?
That's my guys. Home game, Patriots only favored by 3. Let's go for the Patriots.
I only took it because it's a home game. Next, Bears and the Saints. That should be a gimme.
This one should be a blowout for the New Orleans Saints. I expect
especially with their defense.
Yeah, they're favored by 8.5, but that one should be a 2-touchdown game when all said and done.
I believe so, too. We got the Colts at the Panthers.
Well, they say lightning doesn't strike twice, and I don't believe it will this time either. Give me the Colts.
We're all taking the Colts. We're almost the same going down the whole board. That's incredible. We got the Giants at the Raiders. This is just like one mess into another mess. It's in Oakland. Are they going to rise? I mean, it's
Oakland.
in Vegas. It's in Vegas. How do you feel if you're Josh McDaniels? This is your second kick at the can, and the players say, we don't want to play for you. You're not Bill Belichick. That's a word, eh? 2 teams in a row. He tried to be Belichick with no credibility. They shipped him out of town with the GM the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
And he kicked Carr to the curb. And look at Carr. Carr's racing for a playoff spot. Might win that division.
And now Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy he went for, is benched. So
he looked so bad the other night. He looked so bad. Thank you. I'm taking the Raiders still.
I'm taking the Raiders at home.
Just because we don't even know who's quarterback for the Giants. Then we got the biggest game of the NFC, which is the Cowboys and the Eagles.
I can't believe it's only a 3-point spread for the Eagles at home. Give me Philly all day.
That's Dallas. Okay, we're taking them. I think this first week we're almost dead on the same. Then we got another huge game Sunday night in Cincinnati at that crazy-ass stadium where the beloved Buffalo Bills play Cincinnati Bengals.
Wait, where is it's in Cincinnati. Bengals favored by 2 at home. Since he's been trending upwards, Buffalo, no one's really sure what they're all about. Give me the Bengals.
You know what? I had Cincy too, but I'm changing my mind. A little man on my shoulder said the Bills are national TV. But here's the weird thing, okay? Now the Monday night game is the Chargers and the Jets. So look at the games we've had. Cowboys, Eagles. Bills, Cincy. What was the Seattle? Baltimore is a decent game. Dolphins and Chiefs, but that's in Europe. And all our prime time, we're going to get that bunch of garbage?
Well, it's Monday night. Everyone's got to play Monday night.
I agree. What do you think is wrong with the Buffalo Bills?
I mean, I think a lot of it still stems back to the Stephon Diggs stuff.
I think the biggest problem is they lost 3 of their starters on defense, and they haven't going to get their secondary. I think but I think Buffalo is going to come in at about 9-7, 10-8, and nobody's going to want to play them in the playoffs because all those guys will be back. They're not done for the season, guys. They're all going to be back, so we're going to have to see what's happening. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone should worry about the Chiefs. I think that Miami is going to probably sneak by Buffalo, which could hurt Buffalo for the division.
Yep, definitely.
But I think the Chiefs are clearly going to win because there's nobody out there that can even come close to them. I think that once again, and it's going to prove, even though it took a while to get there, that AFC North is the toughest division in football.
Let's get back to the picks, though. We got one more Monday night game, Chargers at the Jets.
I just thought we forgot about it.
Favored on the road at 3.5. I can't believe that. Give me the Jets at home. Road dog or home dog.
After I seen how the Jets couldn't score last week, I think the Chargers did more. But big shout out to the Jets defense. which has been absolutely
phenomenal.
stunning. They keep them there at 3-3 right now, or 4-3, whatever they're at.
4-3.
It's unbelievable. And that's our football thing now. I hope everybody's making money. I keep missing out on the one score. But at the end of the show, we usually have a little subject matter that we want to bring up that just deviates from all the things that are on the field that maybe gets away with them. And I think that you know who the legendary Bobby Knight is. Correct?
I do, yes.
Bobby Knight is considered maybe one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. And can I just put this up here? I hated Bobby Knight when I was in high school because he's the last guy that went undefeated in college basketball. Beat my beloved Michigan Wolverines, and Ricky Green spanked us. But here's the crazy thing about that team. There was a guy named Scott May. He was player of the year. Scott May broke his wrist the year before, so they could have won. They won every game in the regular season, lost in the tournament. So as Bobby Knight said, we should have won 2 in a row. Could have been one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time.
Sure.
But the thing about Bobby Knight I wanted to point out is in this stage of TikTok, social media, cameras everywhere, Bobby Knight would not have had a chance in this day and age because he invented old school. He grabbed players by the neck. He threw chairs across the arena. He swore in press conferences. He called people out, all for the integrity of the game. That cannot be forgotten. He once said that why should we bring in a 3-point rule? He says if a guy hits a home run 460 yards and the guy hits 390, does he get an extra run for hitting the ball 60 feet farther?
Well, you get extra bases for hitting the ball farther.
Okay, I'll give you the benefit of a doubt, but on that. But anyway, he was one of the first ones that chewed the NFL because, the NBA at the time, because it was a prima donna league at times. And he had the greatest statement ever where he said if he was watching his TV set and frogs were making love on one channel and the NBA was on the other, he watching the frogs. In any event, he won 900 some games. He was the 5th most winningest college coach. Got banned from Indiana because of all the extra crazy things that he did that the organization university didn't let him. He didn't come back for 20 years.
Wow.
He had Isaiah Thomas as one of his leaders. He had Keith Smart and Steve Alford, who's now a great coach in college, winning 3 national championships. Bobby Knight, I thought you were crazy when you were alive, but what you did was all the great coaches that are gone now, the Sparky Andersons, the Vince Lombardis, you name them, the Punch Imlachs, guys like that, they all said it was about the product on the field. Get rid of all the other crap today. And imagine these coaches living in this day of social media, what they would be doing. All you have to do is to see how they feel is watch Greg Popovich on the sidelines for one night. Because in my opinion, he's the last of the old school. Agreed?
Yes and no.
Tortorella?
Yes.
Tortorella loved Bobby Knight, by the way. Anyways, Bobby Knight, rest in peace to a great career. Remember, when you coach, when you play, when we talk, when we buy a ticket, it's always about the highest level of competition and the greatness of the game. Because without that, we have nothing. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Big shout out to Mrs. Melania, as I always like to do. Keep rewinding those games. That's why we know more than most people that watch them.
Absolutely.
Anything else you'd like to bring to the table, bro?
I think you summed it up perfectly right there, Cruz.
Well, it took us a little bit of a slow start because we're here on a Thursday night and I'm getting stoned on my couch all day, not being bright-eyed as I am Saturday morning. But I really enjoyed it. And once again, big shout out to my producer, Andrew Mullaney, because we know where we're at. We're at the House That Happens, and my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Mullaney.
And you know what we do? We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.